subscribe, like the video, and, if possible, join Patreon. But if you don't have much money, you can support the channel by watching the novels on euroaudiobooks.com. Remember that you can participate in the polls so that your favorite novel gets published for free.
And also slashed over. Sage Art Massive Rasengan. Chakra exploded under Jiraiya's feet, and Chakra used all the magic skills to rub a super large Rasengan to meet him. With Jiraiya's current strength, this is already the bloodiest attack. A red light flashed in Uchiha Madara's eyes, and the two hands under the wings also swung their knives in the past. Ninja Summoning Technique. Sarutobi Hiruzen took advantage of the gap just now to summon the ape demon, grabbed the Vajra stick, and threw it at a big knife. Aching Feet. Tsunade, who activated ninja art, mitotic regeneration, was not to be outdone and kicked towards the elbow of the other broadsword with all his strength. The intention is to change the attack direction of the broadsword, to replace defense with offense. One Snake, Bunta, and Katsuyu attacked at the same time. Only Orochimaru retreated in stature, leaving 10,000 snakes' heads and landing on the ground in the blink of an eye. He took out the spell scroll that he had prepared earlier and threw it on the ground. The white snake on Orochimaru's neck opened its mouth, and a cloud Shinobi Elite Jnin was spat out. This is a sacrifice prepared by Orochimaru for the first generation, practicing Jnin, the art of ninjutsu. Ninja Reanimation Jutsu. Orochimaru casually threw the sacrifice into the sacrificial position, quickly sealed his seal, and slapped the ground and shouted. The bound cloud Shinobi Jnin, shrouded in white light, at Orochimaru's low voice. Amid cloud Shinobi Jnin's painful wailing, a large amount of filthy debris quickly appeared covering his body. The physical appearance quickly transformed into that of first Hokage, Senju Hashirama. Red laminated armor with the symbol of the Senju clan tattooed on it, and long black hair. He wears Konoha forehead protector on his head and red iron bracers on his wrists. Shards of filth and dirt are flying around. This is to filth Hashirama, Hash Hot Mom. The besieged Uchiha Madara saw Orochimaru's movements, and the Scarlet Sharingan showed a touch of excitement and fear. Success! Second generation also saw Orochimaru's movement behind him, and heaved a sigh of relief. To be honest, they really couldn't beat Uchiha Madara without Hashirama's help. Apart from Orochimaru, Jiraiya and Tsunade are not at Kage level, and this battle was originally launched to test Uchiha Madara. According to the plan, there should be a 90% chance of not doing anything. Sarutobi Hiruzen, Jiraiya, and Tsunade all breathed a sigh of relief. For the attack, just now, Jiraiya and Tsunade gave it their all. At this moment, Jiraiya exits Sage Mode again, falling back to Wentai's head. Tsunade also returned to Katsuyu by the force of the shock. Uchiha Madara now. It's Second generation looked at the already formed first generation and was about to say hello, but was interrupted by a sudden situation. Sarutobi Hiruzen, Jiraiya, Tsunade, Shiraishi are also dumbfounded. As the caster, Orochimaru almost jumped up and scolded his mother. At the moment when first generation opened his eyes, the dirty soil suddenly collapsed and scattered all over the place. The dam failure rate was bumped into by him. Although I really want to compete with Hashi Hot Mom, but now is not the time. I will not give you another chance to summon him. Uchiha Madara's Scarlet Sharingan looked down at the few people and shouted like a bell. The next moment, the wings behind Uchiha Madara spread out. Chakra's wings shot at everyone like a rain of arrows. To suffer. Earth-style, Tuliakut. Seeing this, Shiraishi, who was hiding behind Katsu, broke out and shouted with all his might. The ground under his feet parted instantly, taking him and the Nagato family down. One Snake and Wentai were immediately beaten back to the summoning world. Only Katsuyu, who is infinitely divided, used countless clones to stand in front of Tsunade. Sage Art Needle Jizo. Jiraiya released the last shadow clone. Her hair wrapped herself tightly like a hedgehog. The third generation made the Vajra stick dance so airtight that it could block the rain of winged arrows constantly impacting. Summoning Rashomon, Orochimaru, perceived by the sage, completes the seal between the lightning and flint and raises a Rashomon to resist the rain of arrows. The second generation, which had a dirty body, was directly blown into pieces. The speed of recovery is far less than that of Broken. The dense rain of wings and arrows shattered the land into a purgatory in the blink of an eye. This is the end of the boring game. Uchiha Madara's pupils were scarlet, and he shouted condescendingly, asking for flowers. While Uchiha Madara was speaking, the tall Susan started to make seals. Uchiha Madara's Susan, but the only Susan in the original plot who can seal. Fire-style fire extinction. With Uchiha Madara shouting loudly, a real sea of flames descended on the world like a natural disaster. Sage art inorganic reincarnation. Green light flickered in Orochimaru's eyes, and chakra burst out from his body. The ground under the feet of Sarutobi Hiruzen, Jiraiya, and Tsunade subsided instantly, dragging them to the ground. Pull them to where the Shiraishi four are. The moment Tsunade left, Katsuyu disappeared and returned to the wetbone forest. Uchiha Madara's strength is so terrifying. We were too careless. Thinking back to the situation just now, Jiraiya couldn't help but palpitate and said embarrassingly, "Shiraishi, it's not safe here. Leave Nagato, let's go." Orochimaru, who had receded from the sage transformation, sweated on his forehead because of the burst of immortality. He's very lucky to have Shiraishi here now. Otherwise, you won't be able to run. Why give up on Nagato? Can't we go with him? Tsunade glanced at the timid Nagato, wondering. This is to prevent Uchiha Madara from going to Konoha VIP. We were the ones who were unlucky at that time. Maybe it will destroy Konoha. But Master, I have a better idea. Shiraishi explained for Orochimaru, took out the little turtle, and started to operate. Since the first generation of dirt is not summoned, then just pull the first generation over directly. An old man bullied a child because he had practiced for a long time. Do you want to force your face? Shiraishi can't swallow this breath. Definitely got to get back on the field. Any solution? Jiraiya asked suspiciously. Boom. Just as Shiraishi was about to explain, there was a sudden violent collision from the land above. Uchiha Madara hands on. Orochimaru knew what Shiraishi meant when he brought out the little turtle and knocked out the Nagatos with a quick shot. The secrets of traveling through time cannot be easily exposed. Quick, take us back in time to the first Hokage period. While the Nagato family fainted, Shiraishi hurriedly yelled at the little turtle. A ray of golden light emerged from the little turtle in an instant, pulling everyone away and disappearing. Konoha, 7 years' reign, country the space suddenly distorted, and a little turtle emerged from it. With a swipe, 5 bodies appeared around the little turtle and fell from mid-air. Although several people consumed too much, the drop in height is not a problem. Well, only Sarutobi Hiruzen, Orochimaru, Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Shiraishi came out. The Nagato family was left in the space inside the little turtle by Shiraishi. Here is the place where we fought before. Tsunade looked around, lost his voice at the familiar terrain and the drizzle. Well, the little turtle only moves time, not space. I don't know if this is an independent world or a world connected to us. For the sake of caution, don't interfere with the past like Konoha's 61 years. Shiraishi put away the little turtle and said solemnly to Tsunade and Sarutobi, if the link isn't a world of time, they will be the ones who will be affected if they are broken here. With the little tortoise, you can travel through it at any time. So let's verify it first. The 4 of them nodded seriously. Quickly return to the land of fire and leave for Konoha after half a day's rest. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the rainy weather around him and pointed at the tired Sannin. Chapter 65, The Battle of the Valley of the End. Shiraishi Konoha's 7 years Fire Nation. Konoha Village, evening. Shiraishi and his group of 5 took off the forehead protector and swaggered into Konoha. At this time, Konoha Village is more like an open village. There are no walls, let alone guarding ninjas. Only the important places of the big families and the Hokage building are guarded by ninjas. It's so deserted here. Many places have not been established. Neither the school, nor Umbu, nor the guard showed up. Jiraiya, who took off the Konoha forehead protector, looked at the surrounding environment curiously and whispered, "There's a big gap between the current Konoha and the Konoha he remembered as a child." "Shut up, Jiraiya. You talk too much." Orochimaru and Tsunade, who were also watching curiously, shouted at the same time. "Uh-huh. Sorry. Jiraiya also thought of Shiraishi's exhortation, touched his head, and smiled. Sarutobi Hiruzen is very nostalgic looking at everything or people around him. These are all memories of his boyhood. "Danzo, hurry up, hurry up." Suddenly, a familiar voice sounded in everyone's ears. Everyone's eyes were instantly attracted. Under the setting sun, Sarutobi, a boy in training uniform, ran over from far and near. "Sarutobi, damn, I must beat you tomorrow." The boy Danzo, 6'3", was holding two long knives, shouting out of breath behind him. The two ran past the crowd one after the other. When the boy Sarutobi passed Sarutobi Hiruzen, he looked curiously at this uncle who looked somewhat similar to him. Make Sarutobi Hiruzen tense. "So that handsome boy is Danzo?" Tsunade looked at the fleeting black-haired boy and said in surprise. Unexpectedly, Danzo was a handsome guy when he was a child. "Well, it's him. That guy was very popular back then." Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the back of the two people who disappeared and couldn't help sighing with emotion. "Find a place to rest first, and make a plan after I verify it." Shiraishi interrupted Sarutobi Hiruzen's memory aloud, eyes wandering around. "First of all, it is natural to verify whether the two worlds are common. Only then can we decide how to take first generation to find the king of Dance PK. Follow me." Sarutobi Hiruzen looked up and looked around, looking for a direction, and said in a deep voice. Led by Sarutobi Hiruzen, they soon came to a remote wooden house. "This is the secret stronghold of my boyhood. I usually practice near here, and I rest here when I don't want to go home at night. He has gone home just now and will not come again tonight." Sarutobi Hiruzen took out the key and opened the door familiarly. This explanation immediately made Shiraishi unable to complain. "Dare to love, you, third Hokage, have been the king of roles since childhood. A person secretly practiced hard. And then Kifa Danzo, relying on the background of friends, the upper rank third Hokage. Is this house still in Konoha 32? Shiraishi was also lazy to talk nonsense and went straight to the point. "Although it is a bit in disrepair, the house is still there," Sarutobi Hiruzen said to Shiraishi after entering the house in front of several people. Hearing this, Shiraishi pulled out kunai and left an X mark on the blind spot in the corner. "I need to go back and verify. You rest for a while." Shiraishi took out the little tortoise and said to several people. Orochimaru knew what Shiraishi was going to do and nodded in agreement on behalf of everyone. "Then let's rest. Hey. Let me see if Mr. Sarutobi had hidden anything special when he was a child." Jiraiya giggled when Shiraishi disappeared and started looking around. "Boring. Idiot. How is this possible?" Orochimaru and Tsunade were speechless with their hands on their foreheads and began to restore chakra. Sarutobi Hiruzen's complexion changed slightly, and he sat on a tatami mat calmly. There is something about the passion of his boyhood in it. Konoha 32 years in a slightly dilapidated wooden house. Shiraishi appeared out of thin air. As soon as Shiraishi appeared, he went to check the place where the mark was left. An X mark full of traces of time appeared in his sight. Shiraishi's eyes were fixed, and his face was cloudy. It turned out to be the real past time and space. What exactly is going on? Why is that future time and space a different parallel world? In this case, many things cannot be done. For example, traveling through the millennium, I picked up the chakra fruit of Hokage. But again, there are many things that can change. For example, doing things in the past affects the present. The enemy who really can't deal with it will cross over and overshadow him. Good and bad. It seems that we still have to travel through Konoha's 61 years, or travel through the future to find the answer. Shiraishi murmured to himself, and traveled again. Konoha 7 years, Shiraishi's figure reappeared in the cabin. Things are in trouble. This is the Konoha of the past, not another world. In order not to change the future, we can't find first generation to fight Uchiha Madara. Otherwise, it may lead to unpredictable consequences. Shiraishi looked at several people and said cautiously, "Everyone's faces changed. I want to visit Konoha 61. Let's see if we can go to that parallel world." Orochimaru came to his senses first and said solemnly, "Plow, take us to Konoha 61. Shiraishi also had the same idea and immediately ordered the little turtle. Insufficient energy to travel through Konoha for 61 years. Unable to move time. Insufficient energy to travel through Konoha for 61 years. Unable to move time. Plow did not take people through this time, but a mechanical reminder. Insufficient energy. The excited people were dumbfounded for a moment and looked at Shiraishi with puzzled eyes. I forgot about this. Before, I only supplemented the 68-year travel energy. If I knew it earlier, I would travel through a year to verify the world. Just now, I only considered affecting the future, so I went back to Konoha for 32 years. Shiraishi scratched his head in embarrassment and explained. This made everyone look at each other in dismay. Plow, how many years of passing energy are left now? Seeing this, Shiraishi hurriedly changed the subject to cover up his embarrassment and asked. The current remaining energy is 18 years. Plow replied mechanically again. 18 years? I added 68 years of energy before. 50 years of energy wasted going back and forth. A single trip is 25 years of energy. Here is Konoha's 7 years. If you want to go to Konoha for 61 years, plus the remaining new of those 18 years, still short of 36 years of energy. With my current amount of chakra, I can replenish energy for 3 years in 1 day. Well, we're going to stay here for at least 12 days, Shiraishi muttered while snapping his fingers, making the Sarutobi team full of black lines. Then, let's rest here for a while. In order to avoid affecting the future, we went to live outside the village for a few days. Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed helplessly, expressing his thoughts. Everyone looked at each other and nodded in agreement. Under the cover of darkness, Shiraishi and Sarutobi team quickly left Konoha for more than 10 miles. Find a natural cave with an excellent location and beautiful mountains and rivers to rest temporarily. After the previous battle, Sannin has a very clear understanding of his expanded strength and mentality. Orochimaru, in particular, recognized Shiraishi's steady approach even more. Never take such a risk again. So, Sannin began to practice immediately. Orochimaru concentrates on the study of the cooperation between sage art and escapism. After 3 seconds of fighting in sage mode, Jiraiya gained some insights and continued to deepen sage mode. The fewer faces you have frogged, the more powerful sage mode will be. Tsunade went directly to the wet bone forest and asked about the cultivation method of sage mode. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the 3 disciples who were rolled up and was also aroused to start the cultivation mode. In addition to charging the little turtle every day, Shiraishi uses 9 tails to develop wind style. At the same time, it also began to increase the in-depth application of 9 tails chakra. 10 days passed quickly. After a high-intensity fusion, Shiraishi's own chakra has also been improved. The energy required to lead to Konoha 61 was completed ahead of schedule. But wind-style Rasengan will be developed soon, and Shiraishi didn't mention it. On this night, everyone had just had dinner and was going to rest. Suddenly, there was a beast roar not far away. Followed by the familiar blue Susan appeared. Opposite the blue Susan is a tall Senju wooden Buddha. This is the battle of the Valley of the End. Sarutobi Hiruzen stared at the place where the fierce battle took place. His pupils constricted, and he said in horror. The figure quickly swept toward the top of the mountain next to it. Shiraishi and the others quickly followed. On the top of the mountain, the 5 of them had a panoramic view of the battle on the opposite side. No matter what tactics Uchiha Madara uses, Senju Hashirama can always beat him. even with beast difficulty with 9 tails. That is the god of ninja. First Hokage, Senju Hashirama. 2. Exaggerated. Jiraiya looked at sage art with style Hashirama, the sage who turned into a Buddha on the top, with trembling eyes, and trembled in disbelief. Indra versus Ashura, reincarnation, pinnacle battle. Orochimaru's eyes were serious, and he murmured softly, "Strong as 9 tails to be pinched by one hand. Is this still 9 tails? How do I feel? 9 tails is a pet in the hands of my grandpa." And Uchiha. Seeing 9 tails controlled by one hand, Tsunade took a breath and was a little suspicious of life. This humiliated 9 tails, who was also awakened in Shiraishi's body. It's so dignified. 9 tails demon fox doesn't want to lose face. Third generation. I heard you were the strongest Hokage. Seeing this rare scene, Shiraishi joked to Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was stunned in agreement. The strongest Hokage? Shiraishi, 5.1 Nico never said that. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at first Hokage, who was waving his hand across the land, and the corner of his mouth twitched. You didn't say it now. In the future, it will be clearly written in the books of the ninja school. Shall I show you the deeds of the strongest Hokage in Konoha 61? Shiraishi chuckled uncompromisingly and continued to sneer. In an instant, Jiraiya, Orochimaru, and Tsunade all looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen with contempt. This old guy is so shameless? Ahem, it's not my doing. This old man will definitely not do such a thing. Sarutobi Hiruzen blushed from seeing the old man and said with a straight face, Hey, Master, this is the reincarnation who has activated the powers of Indra and Ashura. It is at this time that Uchiha Madara bites off the flesh of the first generation and opens the Rinnegan. If I'm right, if first generation transplanted Uchiha Madara's eternal Mangeki at this time, Rinnegan should also be awakened. Do you want to get some blood cells and go back to study? Shiraishi smiled and turned to Orochimaru bewitchingly. Although the past cannot be changed, bringing something with you should have little effect. Thieves do not go empty is Shiraishi's last persistence. Orochimaru's eyes lit up when he heard the words, and he immediately entered sage mode and ran towards the battlefield. Chapter 66, Konoha's 61 years. Sasuke, the youth who lost the Turtle Valley of the end Uchiha Madara's beast disaster, is suppressed by Hashirama's top Buddha. Suzuo was broken, and 9 Tails was also controlled by Hashirama Wooden Golem, sealed with one hand. Uchiha Madara and Hashirama stared at each other, panting with weapons in hand. Hashirama, Madara. Suddenly, the two called out the names of their friends loudly and collided again with their weapons. The two have already exploded chakra. This time is really the last martial arts competition. The two quickly competed with dozens of moves, and the process was dangerous and fatal. Once again, he hit it with all his strength, and Hashirama half kneeled on the water, panting. Uchiha Madara, on the other hand, stood up straight and calmly. It was I who stood this time, just the opposite of that time. You look rather depressed. Hashirama. Uchiha Madara glanced sideways at Hashirama, recalling the last battle, and reprimanded with a victorious gesture. Just when Uchiha Madara was about to step forward to end Hashirama's life, he suddenly felt a pain in his chest, and a long knife pierced through his chest. Uchiha Madara showed disbelief, and with a glance, he saw that Hashirama, who was halfway, turned into an avatar. I was actually shot from behind. Uchiha Madara said with an ugly face. In his life, he hated others attacking from behind the most. So as long as someone stands behind him, peeing is not free. Whether it's my friends, my brother, or even my kids. As long as I dare to be an enemy of the village, I will never let it go. Hashirama's eyes were cold, and he said in a cold voice with a sullen expression on his face. At this moment, Hashirama has gone to extremes for the so-called peace. The extreme of the will of fire. You have changed. Hashmala, Uchiha Madara's pupil shrank, and she became more determined in her choice. His complexion fell down naturally, and he stopped breathing. Before the final collision, Uchiha Madara had bitten off Hashirama's blood, 21 flesh. The eyes have already left a transfer seal for resurrection, Izanagi. So at this time, Uchiha didn't panic at all and experienced death calmly. Haha! After confirming the death of Uchiha Madara, Hashirama gasped and put down his weapon with a sad face. At this moment, he seems to be Uchiha Madara's best friend again. Did you fail? Damn Ashura. On the cliff where the two fought, Black Zetsu thought, disappointed after seeing everything. Staggeringly turned around and retreated, leaving quickly. That is the mastermind behind the scenes that Shiraishi said Black Zetsu. The next second Black Zetsu left, Orochimaru of Sage transformation came out of the ground and looked surprised. Entering Sage mode will become one with nature, and Black Zetsu doesn't perceive Orochi at all. On the contrary, Black Zetsu, who thought he was in control of everything, stood there blatantly watching the battle. On the contrary, Orochimaru, who came here by performing inorganic reincarnation, found out ahead of time. Orochimaru turned his gaze to Senju Hashirama below. Unfortunately, this is not a parallel world. Otherwise, I really want to try porting Manjiki to first generation. Or don't change, avoid Nagato's Rinnegan disappearing. Orochimaru groaned regretfully and sneaked underground to Hashirama. A white snake suddenly emerged from the ground, biting Hashirama's back with its hideous mouth. Hashirama, who was almost exhausted, was caught off guard and a large piece of flesh was bitten off in an instant. Uchiha Madara, whose body was lying on the ground, was also treated in the same way, except that the snake was gray. After the two snakes succeeded, they immediately escaped into the underground passage opened by Orochimaru and escaped quickly. Ah, there are enemies! Hashirama yelled in pain, looking around warily, and the horrible injury on his back began to heal quickly. Shiraishi here, what are you going to do? Can't change the past to affect the future. If Shodai died here, the first ninja war would definitely break out earlier. This will change a lot of things, and Konoha may also be destroyed. Sarutobi Hiruzen stared at Shiraishi worriedly and questioned. As third Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen is well aware of Konoha's strength now. It could be said that Konoha will start to prosper after 12 years. Whether it is the forbidden techniques studied by the Second Generation Project, or the establishment of departments such as ninja schools, umbu, and guards. At this moment, Konoha couldn't stand the joint attack of the 4 great ninja villages. Even if Konoha blocked the attack, the consequences of the war would be terrifying. Not to mention whether the generations of Orochimaru, Jiraiya, and Tsunade are likely to be born. Even he, Sarutobi Hiruzen, wasn't sure he'd survive. Just take some flesh and blood for research. This is the power of Indra and Ashura. Don't worry, Master knows how to measure. Looking at Sarutobi Hiruzen, who made a fuss, Shiraishi said without a shoulder, "Now that we know that it is the past world that affects the future, could Orochimaru be that brainless?" Sarutobi Hiruzen recalled Orochimaru's style, and after a little relief, he waited anxiously. Sarutobi Hiruzen has no objection to studying the power of Indra and Ashura. This is for the future of Konoha. Still, Shiraishi understands me. By the way, I just saw what you said about Black Zetsu. That guy's body turned out to be such a dark thing. Akatsuki's black-white Zetsu is much more pleasing to the eye. Orochimaru suddenly emerged from the ground and joked in a good mood. In the memory of middle-aged Orochimaru, Orochimaru knew the existence of black-white Zetsu. See him? Then let's go early, in order not to be discovered by this guy. That guy is a dragon who can't see the end. Shiraishi was surprised and immediately made a decision. If Black Zetsu hears something, it wouldn't be a blood loss to kill him in the past. Sure enough, the tortoise traveling through this time and space is a double-edged sword. No wonder middle-aged Sasuke doesn't like it. Isn't it 12 days? Energy replenishment is complete. Tsunade held his fair chin and asked with doubts in his beautiful eyes. Well, chakra has strengthened a little in the past 2 days. I was going to tell you tomorrow. Shiraishi explained, took out the little turtle, and started to operate. Wind-style Rasengan. Where can't you practice? Another golden light flashed, and the 5 people were pulled into the little turtle's body. Or let them stay like this? Tsunade asked while looking at the Nagato family, who were wrapped unconscious by Katsu. In order to protect the secret of time travel and provide nourishment for the 3 of them, Nagato Shiraishi has been in this state these days. That's it for now. Let them out after we defeat Uchiha Madara, Orochimaru said solemnly. Sarutobi Hiruzen, Jiraiya, and Shiraishi nodded in agreement. On the same cliff as before, Shiraishi and the Sarutobi team appeared out of nowhere. It's just that they travel through the night, and here is daytime. Ninja summoning technique. Orochimaru bit his finger, slapped the ground cleanly, and shouted, "There's nothing quicker to know the news than this." With a bang, Wand Snake's huge purple snake body appeared at the feet of 5 people. Orochimaru, what are you doing with me again? The sacrifice promised to me last time has not been fulfilled. Following Wand Snake's rebellious and familiar clamor, several people immediately showed joy. This kind of arrogant attitude is not the attitude that the snakes in their time and space should have. Wand Snake, how long has it been since the last battle? Orochimaru, who was in a good mood, didn't care about Wand Snake's attitude and asked, "You still have to ask my uncle about this? JB, you sage transformation." Wand Snake's eyes saw Orochimaru in sage mode, and the angry snake's mouth changed into surprise and stumbled. "Answer my question." Orochimaru sharpened his eyes and urged dissatisfied. "Big, about a month." 10,000 snakes stared at Orochimaru with apprehension and responded. It's not like kneeling and licking directly like the 10,000 snakes in that world. This 10,000 snake is used to bullying Orochimaru, and now he can't hold back his face. "A month? You can go back." Orochimaru murmured and ordered 10,000 snakes. One snake didn't dare to have any objections at this time, and immediately turned into white smoke and ran away. "Let's go to Konoha. I have someone to beat Uchiha Madara." The stars in Shiraishi's eyes flickered, and he said to several people, "Who?" The Sarutobi team suddenly exclaimed. "There are werewolves of this level in Konoha now? They have seen the strength of Uchiha Madara." 3rd generation project. Remember the Might Guy and Kakashi I said earlier? With Might Guy joining, a few more of us and future Sannin. Absolutely no problem. Shiraishi looked at them with a confident expression. "Might Guy, that was the one who almost killed Six Paths Madara. It's just an old Madara, and with a few of their supports, Uchiha Madara can be taken at most by opening the door." "Might Guy?" The Sarutobi team was puzzled again. Shiraishi didn't elaborate on Might Guy's record before. "Then go to Konoha first. The time was 880 in a hurry before, and there are still many things that have not been done." Orochimaru exited Sage mode, making a final decision. Everyone also had no objection, and quickly ran towards Konoha. "Konoha Hokage office, so you're the future Sasuke?" "Is he the future son of Naruto, Uzumaki Boruto?" The middle-aged Tsunade crossed his arms and looked at the young black-haired Uchiha, and the pineapple-haired yellow boy questioned. Beside middle-aged Tsunade, there are not only middle-aged Jiraiya and Kakashi. Even middle-aged Orochimaru and boy Sasuke are among them. Although I'm also very confused now. But it is what it is. Many things in this world are different from my past. At least, this time period, I have defected to find Orochimaru. And Orochimaru, it is even more impossible to appear here. But these are not the point. The point is the noble phantasm that moves time ran away. It left us to Konoha for 32 years. The reason for all this is because of him. The youth Sasuke supported his forehead, pointed at the youth Sasuke, and said with a tired heart, "He and Boruto traveled time to come here, in the process of finding Naruto. It happens that middle-aged Orochimaru is teaching young Sasuke carefully. Still in Konoha village, Sasuke, a young man who feels bad, stepped forward to check. As a result, there was a conflict with middle-aged Orochimaru. At that moment, the boy Sasuke suddenly broke out the spell. He snatched the tortoise for Boruto and ordered the tortoise to take him across Konoha for 32 years. For some reason, the tortoise didn't take the boy Sasuke through time. Instead, moved time alone. This left young Sasuke dumbfounded. Without that treasure, they couldn't leave here at all. After seeing the difference between the two time and space, the youth Sasuke had to show his cards and turn to 5th-generation Tsunade for help. I hope Tsunade will send someone to help salvage the Tsutsuki noble phantasm plow in this world. In an instant, everyone's eyes turned to the boy Sasuke. Don't look at me, I don't know anything. Hello, future me. Why is one of your eyes blind and one of your hands broken? The young Sasuke responded innocently and asked the young Sasuke. Chapter 67, Unexpected Surprise. The prequel of The Storm is linked to the biography of Boruto the youth Sasuke, whose left eye was blocked by a black eye patch, froze when he heard the youth Sasuke's question. Lu Goyu Rinnegan's information. He doesn't plan to say it out yet. And breaking the arm is even more impossible. Could it be that it was beaten by that idiot Naruto? He is shameless. I don't want to say that. In short, he is not the enemy. The youth Sasuke looked at the youth Sasuke and said meaningfully, although I don't know why I didn't defect in this world. In the future, he will grow up with Naruto and Sakura, which is also a good path. Thinking of this, the youth Sasuke turned his attention to the Chinese Orochimaru again. The root of all change begins here in Orochimaru. I would like to know why you, who are currently a traitor, appear here. Is it okay for 5th-generation Jiraiya Orochimaru to appear in Konoha? As far as I can remember, he had just killed 3rd Hokage. The young Sasuke stared at the middle-aged Sannin with scorching eyes and asked, "Why, Sasuke, I'm Konoha's special advisor right now." The middle-aged Orochimaru looked at the young Sasuke with a nonchalant smile and smiled lightly. Well, although this special advisor today is only known to middle-aged net players, Chinese Jiraiya and Kakashi for the time being, guiding boy Sasuke is also done secretly. Special advisor Konoha? The youth Sasuke gasped and looked at 5th-generation Tsunade for confirmation. For some reason, Konoha has started a secret cooperation with Odanin Village. Therefore, you don't have to question the identity of Shiwan. It's just that this matter is now in the confidential stage. Please don't disclose it. So what is your purpose here? Can you tell us about the future information? After 5th-generation, Tsunade nodded in response. He stared at the youth Sasuke with deep eyes and said solemnly, "This is to verify the authenticity of Yamashiro Shiraishi's information, and she will definitely not miss it." Middle-aged Orochimaru and middle-aged Jiraiya's eyes lit up at the same time, staring at young Sasuke. I asked you for help to make this preparation. However, this matter is of great importance. Can you let him go out with Boruto first? The youth Sasuke turned his gaze, pointed at the youth Sasuke, and said, "Sasuke, you take that brat out first. Remember, don't reveal everything here." The middle-aged Orochimaru nodded in agreement and said to the boy Sasuke, "Yes, Mr. Orochimaru." Although the boy Sasuke was curious about the future, he respectfully agreed. Middle-aged Orochimaru brings the power of boy Sasuke. That's pretty scary. Immediately, the boy Sasuke turned his eyes and smiled at Boruto. If you want to know the future, this kid can do it too. Boruto met the boy Sasuke's eyes with the same curiosity. Master Sasuke's boyhood, he is so interested. Boruto, without my permission, don't tell me anything about the future. Remember, it's anything. When the two were about to leave the office door, the voice of young Sasuke sounded behind them. In an instant, the boy Sasuke and Boruto walked out with a sad face. Ninja law, toad mouth restraint technique. Just as the two left, the middle-aged Jiraiya clapped his hands together and shouted on the ground. Before the blink of an eye, the entire Hokage office was covered by the stomach wall of the toad and turned into a toad intestine. This is to avoid intelligence leaks, don't worry. The middle-aged Jiraiya explained to the young Sasuke, so as not to cause any misunderstanding. You should be careful indeed. Young man Sasuke thought of the existence of black-white Zetsu, nodded in agreement. The purpose of our coming here this time is to protect Naruto. There is a guy named Tsutsuki Urashiki who is coming to take the 9 tails from Naruto. This is a member of a terrifying family from beyond the sky. I know that you are a little unfamiliar with this family, and I will talk about this matter later. I now talk about the enemy we are about to face, Tsutsuki Urashiki. Tsutsuki Ura's abilities are free floating flight, 360 high-purity eyes with no dead angle in sight. Very scary, self-healing physique. His weapon is a red chakra rod and red fishing rod. The chakra hook thrown by that fishing rod can pass through the human body regardless of defense and hook the chakra in the ninja's body. The red fish basket can absorb almost all ninjutsu attacks and can be controlled by him to counterattack. Therefore, ordinary ninjutsu attacks are useless to it. It will also enhance his strength and become his means of attack. On top of that, there's his Rinnegan ability. In previous battles, he would transform into a red chakra paper crane form to avoid attacks or just run away. Then open the space channel at will. I don't know when he will appear or escape. Therefore, if you want to deal with him, you only have high-strength physical skills, Heimu, and curse marks. The youth Sasuke told the known Tsutsuki Yura-style information in detail. I want to give a few people a little buffer time. But when he looked up, he only saw Kakashi stunned. The middle-aged Sannin was only slightly taken aback and didn't show much horror. Continue, I want to know information about Konoha Mirai. Fifth-generation Tsunade urged Sasuke, staring at the young man without squinting. Pushur's ability is a bit tricky, but they have long known that the Tsutsuki family is already mentally prepared. The young man Sasuke looked at fifth-generation Tsunade in surprise. He didn't expect the other party to be so steady as a mountain. Compared with the vigor of the fifth generation, the subsequent sixth generation is almost meaningless. Then let's start with the Akatsuki organization. 3 years later, the Akatsuki organization began to collect tail beasts. At that time, Jiraiya went to range Shinobi Village to obtain information and was killed. His death made Naruto, that idiot, very sad and grew up quickly. Afterwards, Nagato, the leader of Akatsuki, attacked Konoha. The youth Sasuke looked at Jiraiya with complicated eyes and continued to talk about himself. This made Jiraiya, who once again heard that she would die in range Shinobi Village, feel embarrassed. And the middle-aged Orochimaru and fifth-generation Tsunade. It is a quick spin to confirm each other. Only Kakashi, who heard this for the first time, never put his mouth under the mask. Soon, the youth Sasuke tells the true face of Obito and the dirty appearance of Uchiha Madara. Used to mean Obito is still alive? Or the masked man who provoked the Fourth Ninja War? Kakashi couldn't help but asked out loud. This stimulated him no less than Pain's attack on Konoha. The Scarlet 3 Tomo Sharingan under the forehead protector began to spin rapidly. Yes, it is like that. If your current Manjiki Sharingan is turned on, you can easily find Obito. Your pupil technique is connected with his pupil technique space. Both are Kamui pupil technique. It's just that you are transferring others. But the troublemaker is transferring yourself. Youth Sasuke nodded seriously. Kakashi, who confirmed the news, shuddered and had already started the Sharingan stimulated by Tsukuyumi. Shrinking sharply, the 3 hooked jades were connected first and quickly transformed into the appearance of Manjiki Sharingan. This change in pupil power caused Sasuke, a young man close at hand, to change his expression and look at Kakashi's covered left eye. Inside Konoha Village, Shiraishi and the Sarutobi team, who cast transformation technique, walked leisurely on Konoha Street. Looking at the changes around them, Sarutobi Hiruzen, Jiraiya, and Tsunade are all in high spirits. As for the guards of the village, in front of their strength, it is just a display. That is Shiraishi, who was walking on the road, suddenly shrank his pupils and looked at the 2 people who were walking towards him in amazement and faltered. Sasuke? Konoha is still at this time. It seems that he has already acted. Following Shiraishi's gaze, Orochimaru couldn't help sighing and muttered, "No, not him. I saw a man who couldn't exist. No, he should exist. Reasonable, reasonable. Master, we are going to take off." Shiraishi stared excitedly at the yellow-haired Uzumaki Boruto, talking incoherently. "They'll take off?" Orochimaru looked at Shiraishi incredulously. Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Sarutobi Hiruzen also looked over curiously, full of doubts. Hey, Master, I now have a better candidate for Uchiha Madara, and the research and development subject is about to overtake on a curve. Let's go. Let's find that person first." Shiraishi muttered gulpingly. and walked quickly towards Boruto. This is not Shiraishi nonsense. With the existence of Boruto, don't you need to think about going to Boruto? So, the improved spell seals and other technologies that Orochimaru will research in the future are not yet within reach. The time travel of the little turtle in this world before has made Shiraishi uneasy. According to that setting, who knows what it will be like to travel through the future in this world? Overtaking on a curve, Orochimaru let out a bewilderment and stepped forward quickly. Mr. Sasuke, you said you were going to take me to my dad? Boruto looked at the boy Sasuke in surprise and called out. Naruto in his youth. He was looking forward to it. Well, I still have to practice. You just follow him to play. The boy Sasuke thought of the broken arm and blind Sasuke just now and said with certainty, he must become stronger than the future. In this way, people will not cut off their arms and lose their eyes. The youth Sasuke said it was not the enemy, so it can only be damned it was an accidental injury or that person. Existence of the Slaughter Clan, Uchiha, Itachi. Thinking of this, the boy Sasuke's desire for strength climbed again. Uzumaki Boruto, where is that Sasuke? Just as the two were walking with different moods, Shiraishi's voice rang in their ears. In an instant, the two turned around and stared at Shiraishi and the Sarutobi team behind them guardedly. You, who are you? Why do you know us? Boruto stared warily at Shiraishi and asked tremblingly, an enemy? The boy Sasuke stood in front of Boruto, took out the Kuwushwang hook, and pressed Sharingan to show his guard. Just when Shiraishi was about to fool around, a white snake suddenly emerged from the curse mark of the boy Sasuke. With the speed of lightning, he quickly got into Orochimaru's curse seal. The boy Sasuke was struck by the curse from the sudden backstab and passed out with a howl. So that's how. Song. Although it is different from what I expected, the effect is the same. He's in the Hokage office. Let's go. Orochimaru quickly received the memory of that conscious body and said to Shiraishi after realizing everything. He had planned to let the consciousness hide until Shiraishi said that during the Boruto biography period, he manipulated the youth Sasuke to take the tortoise through time. Unexpectedly, because Orochimaru didn't take the boy Sasuke away, he also met Boruto and the boy Sasuke. Then the boy Sasuke was manipulated by the consciousness body and snatched the tortoise to travel through Konoha for 32 years. Chapter 68, Three-Realm Alliance, Cross-Border Exchange, Student Program, Hokage Office. You open your eyes. The youth Sasuke felt Manjiki's pupil power fluctuations and said firmly to Kakashi, is this the Manjiki Sharingan? Kakashi lifted the forehead protector, revealing the crimson, sickle-shaped Manjiki Sharingan whispered. The pupil technique of this eye, Kamui, is amazing. But if you don't have Uchiha blood, you'll have a hard time using it, or use as little as possible. The youth Sasuke looked at the Kamui Manjiki and gave a warning and continued to tell. During the Fourth Ninja World War, conspiracies emerged one after another. Obito and Madara are actually being deceived. The real culprit is actually Tsutsuki Kagaya. It should be said that Kagaya's incarnation of old Black Zetsu. Under the gazes of several people with different expressions, young Sasuke recounted the process of the Fourth World War in detail. In other words, our enemy is actually the Tsutsuki clan. In our time, there have been Tsutsuki Peach style, Gold style appeared and eliminated. And this Tsutsuki Urashiki is the new enemy. Youth Sasuke finally concluded after taking a long breath. What? You, why aren't you surprised? At this moment, the young Sasuke reacted and looked at the calm middle-aged Sannin in surprise. Of course they won't be surprised. And you are wrong about one thing. Tsutsuki Momoshi is not dead. Uchiha, Sasuke. Suddenly, a slightly immature voice sounded around a few days. Everyone's eyes immediately turned to the place where the voice came from. I saw that the wall that was originally covered by the stomach wall of the toad was rapidly separating. Master Jiraiya. Seeing this, Kakashi immediately exclaimed and asked the other party what's going on. Is there anyone else who can control Jiraiya's ninjutsu? Toad mouth binding? To Kakashi's surprise, China's Jiraiya showed no surprise. Instead, he showed a look of surprise. Middle-aged Orochimaru and fifth-generation Tsunade also have similar expressions. The moment 810 spoke, 5 figures passed through the stomach wall of the toad and appeared in front of everyone. The stomach wall of the toad that was opened just now closed again. One of the white-haired youths is still in a knot seal to control the stomach wall of the toad. Third-generation project, Master Tsunade, Master Jiraiya, Lord Orochimaru, Yu. Kakashi looked at the 4 young faces in his memory. His pupils dilated suddenly, and he trembled with jaw-dropping voices. How is this possible? The youth Sasuke also showed disbelief, staring at the Sarutobi team in shock. Meet again. The middle-aged Orochimaru glanced at the Sarutobi team, smiled at Orochimaru, and said to Shiraishi. The depths of the eyes showed excitement and eagerness. Shiraishi and the others. Sure enough, they can cross over again. As for the mountain city of Shiraishi, the doubts are even more exposed. Mr. Orochimaru, long time no blood, Shiraishi smiled sassily and greeted the middle-aged Orochimaru. Since they are all Orochimaru, it is the alliance formed by Master Orochimaru. Shiraishi can still give this face. The call teacher is not at a disadvantage. Any Orochimaru is his self-made cheat. I said who can control my toad mouth restraint technique. It turned out to be me. Middle-aged Jiraiya looked at Jiraiya with a grin and sighed. Fifth-generation Tsunade nodded naturally and greeted several people. You are the third generation of the past. Sannin. Youth Sasuke reacted suddenly, looked at the Sarutobi team, and said firmly. Then he turned his gaze and stared at Shiraishi sharply. And who are you? You actually know my name? And Tao sure. In the memory of young Sasuke, Snake does not have Shiraishi as a disciple. The other party also knows these things that are impossible to know. You can travel through, why can't we? By the way, I heard you lost your turtle. Then you wanted to take you back. Shiraishi calmly took out the treasure plow from his pocket and joked. That is, young Sasuke's eyes brightened, and he opened his mouth to ask the turtle back. But after seeing the black lines on the plow turtle shell, it froze immediately. Their tortoise doesn't have these black lines. Therefore, this can only be the Tsutsuki noble phantasm of Shiraishi's time and space, or the upgraded one. The youth Sasuke never thought that the black lines were accidentally made by Shiraishi with the cursed seal. Then after Pushur is resolved, please send us back. The young man Sasuke was not disappointed either, so he borrowed the slope to go down the donkey path. As long as I can go back. But you have to promise me one condition. Help me go back in time and defeat Uchiha Madara. Shiraishi saw the young man Sasuke being so upbeat and immediately put forward his own request. Defeat Uchiha Madara? This time, not only the young Sasuke, but also the middle-aged Sannin and Kakashi were surprised at the same time. That's right. Don't worry. We are all separate worlds now. Doing business with us will not affect you. We've already killed Danzo. Don't you remember this event? Oh, by the way, have you killed the Danzo of this world yet? Shiraishi knew what the youth Sasuke was worried about and spoke out. By the way, he looked at the middle-aged Sannin and asked. They said before that they would kill Danzo when they returned to the village. Fifth-generation Tsunade's face froze when he heard the words. He turned his head away in embarrassment to hide something cough. He ran away accidentally. Middle-aged Jiraiya scratched his white hair in embarrassment. Ran? Didn't I tell you about Danzo's intel? Sannin teamed up and let him escape. Shiraishi looked at the middle-aged Sannin with black lines all over his head and complained. The young Sannin also looked at the middle-aged Sannin with contempt. Just Danzo. They took it easily. Only Sarutobi Hiruzen's complexion was cloudy and uncertain. Danzo, who did nothing wrong, was killed by him. But the one who committed a crime ran away. What is this? Don't look at me. I wasn't in Konoha then. The middle-aged Orochimaru saw the disdainful eyes of the young Sannin and immediately took the blame. He won't participate in such a shameful event. In an instant, Shiraishi and young Sannin focused on middle-aged Jiraiya and fifth-generation Tsunade. Cough. You didn't tell us that root ninjas all have seal control. They resist desperately. Can we make a death move? Then Danzo ran away with his henchman. Middle-aged CBCF Jiraiya explained cheekily, forcing the blame on Shiraishi. Is this all about me? Forget it. With Danzo's current reputation, the most he can do is to do some small tricks. No problem. Just check it out slowly. Shiraishi rolled his eyes at the middle-aged Jiraiya and sighed tiredly. Since it is an independent world that does not affect each other, I can help with this. You said Tao Shi is not dead. What happened? And you seem to have known each other for a long time. Young Sasuke looked at the interaction between Shiraishi and the middle-aged Sannin and asked with a twinkle in his eyes. The Tsutsuki clan has a resurrection ability, Wedge. As long as the wedge is hit, the person becomes a container for Tsutsuki. As the wedge is thawed every day, the Tsutsuki will come back to life after it is completely thawed. In Boruto's body, there is a wedge left by Momoshiki before his death. In other words, as Boruto grows, Momo will soon wake up and gradually master his body. In your world, there is not only Boruto, the hidden Peach Wedge, there is also a shell organization beyond the Akatsuki organization. The boss inside is the Tsutsuki-style spare container, and a boy named Chuanmu is the real container of Tsutsuki style. There is a type of wedge on the body, and soon you'll be in conflict. In that battle, Tashiro Naruto will do his best. Ninetales also disappears forever using heavy particle mode in that fight. But that's just a temporary container for defeating Ishur. Waiting for Ishur to be truly resurrected later, Konoha will continue to be destroyed. Replant the sacred tree and make the ninja world a purgatory. Uchiha Sasuke, we are the Konoha shinobi of the Second Ninja World War II. Now it has formed an alliance with the 5th generation to defend against future Tsutsuki enemies. So, do you guys from the 7th Hokage era want to join? The 3 worlds are at odds with each other. Let's work together to save their respective worlds. In Shiraishi, the endlessly surprising brief description of the future of Boruto sends out an invitation to young Sasuke. The young man Sasuke shrank his pupils and stared at Shiraishi in horror, with a blank face, and everyone else was shocked by what Shiraishi said. Afterwards, fear looked at the youth Sasuke with fiery eyes. Especially the 2 Orochimaru, the surprise eyes are too scary. They'd love to exchange experiences with the future Orochimaru. As long as it is confirmed that it is a world that does not affect each other, I can promise you in place of 7th Hokage. The youth Sasuke took a deep breath, then took off the black blindfold and spoke frankly and solemnly. If this is the case, the pressure in their world will be much less. So now the first goal is to solve the Uchiha Madara that may appear at any time, and help us go to the past to defeat Uchiha Madara. As long as Uchiha Madara is defeated, Project Tsukinomi in our time and space will be bankrupt. This will give us a long-term advantage. Use this to communicate with your 2 worlds and quickly develop the strength of the village. Whether it is scientific research or the personal strength of the ninja. To this end, I propose a cross-border exchange student program. Let the geniuses of the 5th generation experience and grow in our war years. The environment here is too comfortable, not conducive to their rapid growth. Then, 3 years later, when the Akatsuki organization plans to start, return them to you. The 4th World War is when we test the results. But this is not the point, but the starting point. Our enemy was never Uchiha Madara or Kagaya, but the endless stream of Tsutsuki. When Shiraishi heard the young man Sasuke's promise, he said solemnly, "This proposal seems reasonable, but only Shiraishi knows why." In addition to one more steady hand. Well, it's just play, curiosity, and bad taste. Come to Hokage and have the ability to pass through the wind. How could Shiraishi not want to interact and play with some plot characters? Who made there be too few beauties in the time and space of World War II? Otherwise, wouldn't these 10 years be too boring? For example, let Hinata sit on him and practice revolving heaven. Ino's heart turned to technique. There should be more special teaching sessions. The combination of Sasuke, Takako, and Mikoto, the growth of Naruto and Minato, Hizashi and Niji, 2 generations of Ino Shika CH, and more, right? In order to prevent those children from accidentally leaking information from Black Zetsu or other forces. Every exchange student who crosses borders must be sealed with a tongue that will kill the evil and cannot disclose any future information. And the sealing technique that prevents the brain from being explored for intelligence. Cancel the spell after they return. Shiraishi suddenly thought of something and added again. This is the key. Otherwise, how can he pick up girls? Mikoto, Kushina, Hinata, and other women, Shiraishi can't give up. Chapter 69 Youth Sasuke. Is it shameless to pass on Boruto? This plan sounds very interesting. Tsunade, I apply to lead the team. After hearing Shiraishi's proposal, the middle-aged Jiraiya said excitedly to 5th generation Tsunade with bright eyes. It's so interesting to go to the pastime and space to play handsome. He has a lot of regrets. One more thing, those who have already been born are not included. Shiraishi immediately refused. What the hell? That is the back garden he made for himself. Was it to put an old pervert in there? Shiraishi wouldn't want a man if it wasn't for being less obvious. Good. Are you trying to replace me? The young Jiraiya responded immediately with support and looked at the middle-aged Jiraiya with disdain. Regarding the character of middle-aged Jiraiya, young Jiraiya has already seen the leopard from the Little Red Book. That's a good proposition. I agree. The excitement in Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes was fleeting, and he said without hesitation, this is a plan that will help them. Thinking of the gathering of geniuses across time and space in World War II, Sarutobi Hiruzen instantly became excited and proud. With this kind of confidence, why would he need such a shady trick? The two Orochimaru also looked at each other and had their own thoughts. Is it the 10 tails or the chakra fruit to annex the two worlds? Shiraishi, don't you just have to be Tsutsuki? Bring these things back to reality. The youth Orochimaru fixed his eyes and said quietly, but this is also good for him, and the youth Orochimaru will naturally not refuse. Middle-aged Orochimaru is more certain that Shiraishi is the reason for traveling through time and space, thinking about going to the future to explore scientific research power. Return to the past. Kakashi's pupils trembled, and familiar faces flashed in his mind. That's not bad. I can give Nawaki to you to grow for a while. That guy's reckless personality is very dangerous in wartime. Little Tsunade squinted her beautiful eyes and smiled at 5th generation Tsunade. She knows how much 5th generation Tsunade misses Nawaki. Nawaki's ninja talent is not too high. It's better to let him perform daily tasks in this world to accumulate knowledge. A hint of surprise appeared on 5th generation Tsunade's face, and he was moved. But as a 5th Hokage, you still can't do things with your temper. Sasuke, in your 4th ninja war, what is the strength of Konoha's younger generation? Do they have potential against Tsutsuki? 5th generation Tsunade thought for a moment and asked aloud. Strength, talent. Young Sasuke was taken aback, and familiar figures quickly appeared in his mind. In all 4 games, they have performed very well. Basically, they are existences beyond Junin. After that, he also became the backbone of Konoha's generation. If they have time to practice Sage Mode or accept the power of Seal, they can indeed deal with Tsutsuki in the future. Thinking of those guys, the youth Sasuke said with serious eyes. Who are they? 5th generation Tsunade stared and asked expectantly. Currently the 7th class, Naruto, Sasuke, Little Sakura. Class 8, Hyuga Hinata, Inuzuka Kiba, Aburame Shino. Class 10, Nara Shikamu, Akimichi Chai, Yamanaka Ino. Guy Class, Hyuga Niji, Lee Locke, Tion. And Faraway Konohamaru, Hyuga Hanabi. This is the most outstanding generation of Konoha so far. However, Orochimaru's Inin village also has 3 good candidates. Libra Jiwu, Uzumaki Xianglin, Ghost Lantern Watermoon. It's just that they are from other villages. You decide for yourself. Youth Sasuke speaks out the names of geniuses he knows without reservation. Konohamaru? That little pervert. 5th generation Tsunade ignored the others and subconsciously shouted. Sarutobi Konohamaru, hearing this name, Sarutobi Hiruzen looked suspiciously at the Chinese Jiraiya next to him. The name Konohamaru was not chosen by chance. The opponent is the Sarutobi clan. Could it be? Cough, cough. Unexpectedly, that kid would also be a genius. That's right. That's Mr. Sarutobi's grandson. Sarutobi Konohamaru. That guy cried for a long time after you sacrificed before and also changed a lot. Middle-aged Jiraiya saw Sarutobi Hiruzen's gaze and explained. Because of Naruto, he still knows a lot about Konohamaru. Hearing this explanation, Sarutobi Hiruzen glanced at the middle-aged Orochimaru in displeasure. Although I have accepted this fact for a long time, it is not beautiful to be reminded of dying once. Look at me, what? Sarutobi-sensei, I didn't kill you. I killed that old man, Sarutobi. The middle-aged Orochimaru jokingly said, making Sarutobi Hiruzen black again. Shiraishi, why are you only talking about fifth-generation geniuses? We also have good talent over there. Send them to you to train and exercise. Youth Sasuke looked at the awkward atmosphere and asked Shiraishi, where are you? Just forget it. You guys, Konohamaru team, are fine. But Boruto has Taosher in his body. We can't afford it here. Zarana and Mitsuki are Boruto's teammates, so they can't be separated. Shiraishi politely declined directly. As far as Boruto's style of painting is concerned, he can't even look down on a beautiful woman. The female number one's Williangna is just like that. What else do you expect? Big Hinata, Big Sakura, Big Ino, Big Hanabi, these beauties are good. But the second-hand ones are not as fragrant as the current first-hand ones. No, definitely not. Youth Sasuke, I don't want to pass on Boruto. Ahem. Orochimaru, what do you think of the three people in Otoshi Village? Fifth-generation Tsunade changed the subject with a dry cough. I will give them a sealing technique. No information will be leaked. I also look forward to their growth. Middle-aged, Orochimaru licked Cade's lips with a half-smile. His current goal has long changed. He doesn't have much interest in this master. Then it's decided. The above 17 people participated in the cross-border growth plan. Fifth-generation Tsunade made a vigorous decision. May I ask, where can I find such a good thing that I can get a powerful ninja without training? The excited fifth-generation Tsunade never imagined that the female ninja who participated in the project would never come back. Well, Hokage-sama, in order to avoid accidents, I applied to lead the team. Kakashi watched the fifth-generation Tsunade make a decision and immediately opened his mouth to vote. Well, it is true that one person is required to carry out the task of leading the team. Kakashi, I remember you were born in Konoha 34. That's you. Fifth-generation Tsunade thought about it and really needed a familiar genin to reassure them, and nodded in agreement. Since the matter has been decided, let me make it clear again. After all, we will have 3 independent time and space in the future, and we cannot let information from other worlds affect our current judgment. For example, if Boruto tells Naruto that he will be 7th Hokage in the future, will this cause changes in Naruto and then affect Naruto's growth? If Sasuke goes back and tells Uchiha to exterminate the genocide, will this trigger the civil strife crisis in Konoha during World War II? If Namake's Minato knew that he would succeed the 4th generation, he would choose someone else because of the change. Will it cause his dissatisfaction and cause some unpredictable consequences? Especially emotional information is the most important thing. So, I propose, in addition to the restraints on cross-border geniuses mentioned earlier and the prohibition of revealing the slightest bit of future information, even if it is us, don't reveal things that have nothing to do with the plan. Our intention is to give them time to grow up, not to mess with our world. Seeing that the matter was settled, Shiraishi threw out a lofty reason to play it safe again. Asking for flowers. Resolutely kill the accident that threatens him to pick up girls in the cradle. Agree. 5th generation Tsunade first stated that she had concealed Kato Dan's affairs in this matter. I really understand Shiraishi's good intentions. She just doesn't want her failed feelings to affect Tsunade in the past. The others are ninja elites, so they can naturally see the risks involved. They all agreed with this decision. Then it's decided. I still know something about Pooh Sure. He can fish out Chakra's fishing rod ninja. As long as we have a seal on us, we can temporarily defend. Then there's the ability of the Blue Rinnegan. 1000 paper crane instant body. At the moment of being attacked, it transforms itself into a few red light 1000 paper cranes, which can appear anywhere at will. Time retrospect. You can let yourself go back to the time point a few seconds ago from the current time point, so as to see clearly the opponent's moves and choose the best response method. The disadvantage is that there is an upper limit to the backtracking time, and it can only make the external time go back to a few seconds ago, and cannot go back its own time. This is Poo-style strength under normal conditions. The Tsutsuki family has the ability to devour chakra and transform. Whether it's a Poo-style Blue Rinnegan or a fishing rod and reel, he can devour these to transform. After transformation, Poo-Shiraishi is ridiculously strong, so we can't let him transform successfully. With our strength, it is not difficult to kill him. Shiraishi spread out Urashiki's information clearly, waiting to lie down and win. I see. I have experienced those two abilities before, but I don't know the specific information. The youth Sasuke sighed softly as he recalled the previous battle with Urashiki. Everyone looks eager to try. The Tsutsuki clan, they only heard how powerful they are from Shiraishi, but they have never seen it. Just to be on the safe side, I'll help you restore chakra first. Later, it's going to burn. Shiraishi turned his eyes and teased the youth Sasuke. Boruto passed on that cheating thing in order to highlight Boruto's bluntly suppressing Nezuo's combat power. Dignified six-path Sasuke actually only uses Uchiha to hug and wrestle. Do you dare to think? Boruto can't burn even if he burns to death. Help me recover chakra? Do you know how much my chakra is? The youth Sasuke was surprised and sighed with a wry smile. Is half a nine-tails chakra enough? If it's not enough, I'll add another half. Shiraishi saw that the second pillar had begun to pretend invisible again and immediately refused to be outdone. 2.5? Isn't this a nine-tails chakra? Enough is enough, but can nine-tails lend me the chakra? Youth Sasuke looked at the devious Shiraishi and questioned. Hey, Kurama, you've been listening for so long. Is chakra borrowed or not? Shiraishi asked, ignoring the young man Sasuke, looking down at his belly. Young Nine-Tails, who was listening carefully, shook his head, and his huge fox face showed a dumbfounding expression. To say how Shiraishi kindly let him listen to these things, it turned out to be for this. But the current situation already shows the seriousness of the situation. Although I didn't see it with my own eyes, the facts have proved that what Shiraishi said before was not lying. That being the case, young Nine-Tails naturally knows what to do. Outside, as soon as Shiraishi's voice fell, the Scarlet Nine-Tails chakra ignited on his body. A chakra tail appeared from behind Shiraishi, connecting directly to youth Sasuke. Nine-Tails chakra. You are still Nine-Tails, Jinchuriki. The youth Sasuke stared, feeling chakra who was recovering, and exclaimed. The middle-aged Sannin and Kakashi on the side also looked at Shiraishi in surprise. Low profile, I don't want to be targeted by Poo-Shir. I'm here to help him restore chakra. What are you supposed to do? Shiraishi smiled mischievously and waved his hands at everyone. Chapter 70, Orochimaru's Determination. Heir Juzi wants to take his daughter to meet his uncle Konoha, 61 years, original root station. You're reincarnated now? Is it White Zetsu clone? How about this body? Orochimaru asked curiously with golden vertical pupils. For the living corpse reincarnation, the current Orochi doesn't like it. His goal has been the same as Shiraishi's, stealing the power of Tsutsuki to gain immortality. However, there is still a desire to study the White Zetsu container Orochimaru. That's right, it's the White Zetsu clone. This container is indeed good, and there is no problem of incompatibility between body and soul. There is also no 3-year limit to having to replace the container. This is the avatar of White Zetsu that I got through negotiating with Akatsuki in the name of researching cell fusion. Black White Zetsu guy just exchanged jutsu with me for reanimation. In order to get this perfect reincarnation, I agreed. Now it seems that it is a bit of a miscalculation. That kid can actually link to the future time and space. then this body is not worth the forbidden technique. Middle-aged Orochimaru stared at Orochimaru with bursting in his eyes and explained. With a pun, explore Shiraishi's secrets. Impure world reincarnation? It seems that Black Zetsu is trying to be a backup to prevent Uchiha Madara from being resurrected. That would be a little interesting. Everything is back to square one. In this world, Uchiha Madara will eventually appear in the ninja world with impure world reincarnation. So, is Black Zetsu watching you secretly? It's impossible for him to let the white Zetsu clone be studied by you. Orochimaru ignored middle-aged Orochimaru's hint, 567, and raised his concerns. Don't worry about that. Now that we know the existence of Black Zetsu, how could we be defenseless? Konoha's current enchantment has been improved. Even if Black Zetsu appears, there will be a warning reminder. And every time we talk about those things, there are barriers or other means to isolate the outside world. So, what happened to Yamashiro Shiraishi? As an ally, I have the right to know this. Even if you don't tell me, I can go to him. You can't stop my means. The middle-aged Orochimaru saw that Orochimaru didn't answer and threatened with evil eyes. Orochimaru's eyes sharpened, and the white snake on his neck appeared instantly, biting his body and injecting natural energy. A head of black hair rose without wind and turned to bone white. On both sides of the head, two silver-white sharp horns protrude. The purple eyeshadow on the nose turns into a darker, bold purple fairy pattern. The green chakra on the body explodes in all directions, and the vertical pupils of the pupils emit green fluorescence, which is cold and ruthless. In the blink of an eye, Orochimaru transformed into a snake sage. As an alliance, it is necessary for me to remind you. Both my strength and your value have changed now. I believe that the Orochimaru in the future will have more cooperative value and attitude. Shiraishi, you can't move. I have the strength to kill you forever. If you don't believe me, you can try. Orochimaru stared at the middle-aged man with murderous intent. Orochimaru said indifferently, as for Shiraishi, Orochimaru will not let him have any surprises. That was his only chance to witness the truth. To Orochimaru, this temptation is more deadly than Tsutsuki's power. If you had to choose one or the other, Orochimaru would choose to give up Tsutsuki's power without hesitation. This is Orochimaru's obsession with seeking truth. So, as long as there is a threat to Shiraishi's existence, nobody can, not even if it's another self. See, in Sage Mode, you actually completed this cultivation. The middle-aged Orochimaru exclaimed, and stared at Orochimaru with apprehension, his face uncertain. Orochimaru in Sage Mode, which wiped out his slight advantage in an instant. I didn't say what to do to him. I'm just very curious about Shiraishi-kun. After all, in my memory, he was just a kid with mediocre talent. The middle-aged Orochimaru looked at the snake fairy state expectantly, licked his lips, and smiled evilly. He just awakened to the ability to see the future. That child believed in me without reservation and entrusted his future to me. This is the chance to change his and me, as well as your fate. This is called the truth. I believe that if it is you, it will also protect a disciple who changes his own destiny. Seeing this, Orochimaru put down his guard and gave the middle-aged Orochimaru an explanation. After all, you're the one who knows you best. Orochimaru is well aware of middle-aged Orochimaru's temper. I see. So, do you have an idea for the next Tsutsuki style? Would you like to capture him alive and study Tsutsuki? The middle-aged Orochimaru shrank his pupils and changed the subject without leaving a trace. Catch PU style alive? The green light in Orochimaru's eyes soared, and he looked at the middle-aged Orochimaru in amazement and exclaimed, "This kind of thing is very dangerous, but relatively, the income is also very high. So, we need a perfect plan." A smile curled up on the corner of Orochimaru's mouth and said meaningfully, "Hokage office, stop. The old man can't do it. Is this guy 10 tails? Almost sucked dry and still haven't recovered chakra." Young Nine Tails' voice suddenly rang in Shiraishi's ears, and the tail beast chakra on his body quickly faded away. In the sealed space, young Nine Tails, who had been alive and well before, was exhausted now. As if being squeezed dry, the figure became thinner. You are the only one who is called the strongest tailed beast? Kurama, you still can't do it. Shiraishi teased casually, then turned to look at Sasuke, a young man who was still full of ideas. I said, are you a glutton? Half a Nine Tails chakra can't feed you. How long will it take chakra to restore you? Shiraishi complained speechlessly, panicked. This young man, Sasuke, is too mana-consuming. Barely recovering 80% chakra. Sorry, because this is only a 6-goat Jade Rinnegan. My chakra has always been beyond my means. The youth Sasuke said a little embarrassedly. Just now he was only focused on recovering the emotion that chakra forgot to take care of Nine Tails. Your Rinnegan also sucks chakra? Is it like Kakashi? Shiraishi was shocked when he heard the answer from a youth Sasuke and asked about something bad. That's right, this Rinnegan will keep consuming my chakra. That's why my chakra is always so lacking. The power of 6 paths that Sage of 6 Paths gave me back then is limited. After 4 battles, those chakra are gone. So, after listening to the young man Sasuke's explanation, Shiraishi finally understood the reason why the 2 pillars were suppressed. In a final analysis, it is a moment of pleasure to open and hang up, and it will become a dog to pay off the debt afterwards. The 6 paths, old man in the soul state, the experience given is too much. 7th generation Naruto still has 9 Tails power banks to keep going. The youth Sasuke has nothing, only relying on his own chakra to recover slowly. If only this is the case, the youth Sasuke can actually solve this problem by catching 1 or 2 tailed beasts as power banks. But 7th generation Naruto will definitely not agree with him to catch the tailed beast, or transplant Hashirama cells, or Naruto flesh and blood, and gather yin and yang to give birth to everything. Let his body become a sage body, even if the other I evolves Rinnegan is not impossible. After all, the young man Sasuke's 6-Goyu Rinnegan was forcibly brought up by the old man of 6 paths, and it did not evolve autonomously through the fusion of yin and yang. It's a pity that the young man Sasuke is so hardworking because he doesn't transplant Hashirama cells or Naruto flesh and blood. So, everything is what he asked for. That, the 2nd pillar. As an ally, I advise you, don't be so stubborn sometimes. The rivers and lakes are not fighting and killing. The rivers and lakes are about the ways of the world. Compromise or compromise. Just go back and receive the arm of Hashirama cells. It will be good for you. Otherwise, in the near future, because of the lack of chakra, you will be attacked by Boruto and blind Legoyu Rinnegan. That's really blind and disabled, old and miserable. Shiraishi patted young Sasuke's shoulder solemnly and sighed. Even though it's a plot kill, getting back that kind of ally is not what Shiraishi needs. 2 pillars. The young man Sasuke couldn't help but twitched his mouth and looked at Shiraishi with black lines all over his head. What the hell kind of title is that? But this thought just passed by, and the youth Sasuke was shocked by what Shiraishi said later. Wait, you said I'd be blinded by Boruto Rinnegan? How is this possible? Why did Boruto attack me? Chakra broke out on the youth Sasuke and asked in a messy mood. Slip of the tongue, slip of the tongue. Didn't I say it before? Boruto has a peach-like model in his body. In fact, it was you who controlled Boruto to attack you. Future enemies will be stronger than you imagined. Whether or not to transplant the Hashirama cell arm is up to you. If you have 80% of the chakra strokes, it's enough, so you don't need to look for Naruto's half 9 tails. I still have something to do, so I'm leaving first. Shiraishi gave a final hey, turned and walked out of Hokage's office. Come to this era, how can we not see the legendary Ichiraka Ramen? As for the others, as early as when Shiraishi restored the chakra to the youth Sasuke, they each dispersed. Prepare for the next battle and cross-border plan. Boruto, peach style. Young Sasuke's eyes flickered suddenly, and he murmured softly, perhaps it's time for me to find him. Find your true self again. If the 7th class of boyhood is not here, Zwoliangna can actually come here to practice. That child is looking forward to her uncle. I don't know if seeing him like this will make that guy less pessimistic and selfish. A flash of memory and trembling appeared in the eyes of young Sasuke, and the corner of his mouth curled up and murmured involuntarily. At the same time, "Hey, hey, hey, Mr. Sarutobi Jiraiya Jr., this is the secret base I have been looking for a long time. I took you as my own, so I brought you here." The middle-aged Jiraiya showed a wretched expression and handed the two binoculars in his hand to Sarutobi Hiruzen, and Jiraiya said meanly, "Jiraiya, it's not good for us. Come out and prepare for battle." Sarutobi Hiruzen glanced calmly downstream with his small eyes at the girls in cool clothes playing by the river. There were two bright reds on his serious face, and he pretended to be disdainful. Sure enough, 4.7 is an old pervert. Jiraiya listened with the same distracted ears and was disturbed by the laughter and noise below. The dead duck snorted coldly with a stiff mouth. "Quack, quack. I'm not a pervert. I'm super old." The middle-aged Jiraiya is not ashamed but proud of her hands, grasping the cheap. Instantly, both Sarutobi Hiruzen and Jiraiya were shocked by this brazen cheek. Well, aren't those shadow clones that condense natural energy just what we are preparing for? It's just the three of us now, so stop pretending. Sarutobi-sensei, when I was young, you followed me to spy on women's bathhouses. Little Jiraiya, I am you. Will you still pretending to be here with me? True temperament is the hero Jiraiya. You are welcome. I'm going to collect materials first. I've already thought of the name of the next book. It's called Hot Heaven. The middle-aged Jiraiya despises the two people who are pretending to be dressed and takes out a binoculars to play waist-peeping. While watching it, he uttered obscene and disturbing restricted-level vocabulary. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Jiraiya looked at each other and turned their heads away in embarrassment in the next breath. Both of them stood next to the middle-aged Jiraiya. Do the same with the binoculars. Quack, quack. Hey, hey, hey. Goodoo, goodoo. Under the contemptuous eyes of several shadow clones, the obscene voices of the three came one after another. Chapter 71, Pooh Shire's face is green. More people bully less, Mr. Sasuke. Why can't I go to my parents? Didn't you say that this is a different past? You can talk about those future things. Why can't I? Boruto pursed his mouth in disbelief, his face full of indignation. Sorry, Boruto, this is for Konoha. There are some things you will know later. The youth Sasuke stared at Boruto lightly and said, while the eternal Mangeki in his right eye burst into red light while speaking. Just as Boruto was about to open his mouth to refute, he fainted as soon as his consciousness went numb. The youth Sasuke quickly appeared behind Boruto, supporting his body. Looking at the fainted Boruto, young Sasuke's eyes showed a killing intent. As long as Boruto is killed, the Tsutsuki Momoshi hidden in Boruto's body will naturally not be revived, equivalent to taking out a future Tsutsuki enemy. But this also killed Boruto. This made young Sasuke hesitate for a while. Recalling Boruto's passionate actions, young Sasuke finally sighed and grabbed Boruto to find middle-aged Jiraiya. Now we can only try to limit the growth of Boruto with the sealing technique and prolong the time of Taoshi's appearance. After that, leave the headaches to 7th generation. But about the alliance and some secrets, Boruto must not know. Otherwise, their alliance plan will be known to Taoshi, causing a lot of trouble. Sasuke, a young man who has recovered 80% of chakra, easily found the three masters and apprentices who were peeping. You guys are too shameless. Youth Sasuke looked at the three sticking out big buttocks and snorted coldly with a dark face. Although in his youth, he saw the elderly third generation and middle-aged Jiraiya who were defeated by Naruto's seduction technique. Unexpectedly, these three guys have become so shameless. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Jiraiya are novices after all, and they don't know whether they are scared or ashamed when they are called by young Sasuke. They fell straight down from the edge of the cliff, arousing the shyness and panic of the girls, and the screams resounded on both sides of the river. 21-inch yay? Sasuke. Ah ha ha ha, misunderstanding, we are collecting materials. Jiraiya, a middle-aged old fried dough stick, turned around calmly and said cheekily. He glared fiercely at the several shadow clones who were gloating. None of these guys even reminded them. I'm not interested in your affairs. Look into my eyes, the youth Sasuke said lightly, and the Scarlet Sharingan pulled Jiraiya into the illusion space. Within the illusion, the youth Sasuke explained the existence of Momoshiki and his purpose of coming. He doesn't know if Tao Shi is secretly peeping now, so he has to be on the safe side. That's right, I understand. I will let the old man use the strongest sealing technique, 8-sign seal. This is also the sealing technique of the 4th generation sealing 9 tails. My sealing technique probably can't limit that Tsutsuki Peach pose. The middle-aged Jiraiya straightened her face, looked at the young Sasuke, and said seriously, "That's troublesome. I will erase this memory of Boruto when I go back. Meanwhile, Boruto will fall into a deep sleep for the rest of the time." The youth Sasuke heard that it was the strongest sealing technique to seal 9 tails. He heaved a sigh of relief and dispelled the illusion. The middle-aged Jiraiya, who understood the seriousness of the matter, immediately jumped off the cliff and grabbed Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was running away in embarrassment. When Sarutobi Hiruzen was about to speak, Jiraiya whispered in Sarutobi Hiruzen's ear about Boruto's situation. Seeing that he couldn't stand by and watch, Sarutobi Hiruzen had no choice but to come to Boruto with the cheek. Sealing technique, 4 symbols seal. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was a little socially dead, came here and didn't talk too much. He raised his hand and greeted him with 2 4-image seals. The 2 4-sign seals are quickly stacked on top of each other to form the 8-sign seal. Hope it works. Jiraiya, it's time for you to get down to business. Youth Sasuke looked at the familiar seal in Boruto's abdomen, looked up and said to middle-aged Jiraiya, "Ah, yeah, that guy Naruto should be impatient." The middle-aged Jiraiya scratched her head in embarrassment, turned around, and ran towards the agreed place. Cough, cough. I should act too. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the expressionless youth Sasuke in embarrassment, coughed dryly, and quickly followed up. As for the youth Jiraiya, already ran away. Their task is to attract Pushur to the designated place. The middle-aged Jiraiya is responsible for training Naruto to adapt to 9 tails chakra and attract Urashi with 9 tails chakra. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Jiraiya hide in secret to prevent Naruto from going wild. In order to prevent accidental leaks of information and cultivate Naruto's resilience, Shiraishi and the others decided not to communicate with the half-9 tails for the time being. Shiraishi, the protagonist, wants to lie down and win without going through trials? Impossible, absolutely impossible. 2 days later of another boring day. After Shiraishi charged the little turtle with energy for 3.2 years again, he sighed out of boredom. For the past 2 days, his daily routine is to charge the tortoise and then play. That's right, just eating, drinking, and having fun. After the yang in his body was drained by the young Sasuke, 9 tails was temporarily unable to supply him with the chakra he was cultivating, while everyone else is busy with their own business. Those who have received cross-border missions are also urgently absorbing some family secrets or experience lessons. Prepare for future growth. This made it impossible for Shiraishi to get in touch with 12 Ziokiang in advance. After all, when they got there, they were all black households without family registration. The family secrets of time and space during World War II may not necessarily be taught to them. Boom! The moment Shiraishi walked out of the temporary residence, there was a deafening explosion outside Konoha village. Immediately afterwards, a purple cube enchantment rose. It has started. Shiraishi quickly dodged to Hokage Rock, looked at the 4 purple flames in the distance, and murmured. Sad Shiraishi, this time he didn't go directly to the scene. He is also 9 tails Jinchuriki now, if he is accidentally discovered by Pushur. Isn't this digging a hole for yourself? However, Shiraishi will not miss such a wonderful duel. He has already split Shadow Clone to watch the game live. 4 purple flames, Tsutsuki Urashi, with pale skin and long light blue hair, floats in the air with a high ponytail and a fishing rod. On that face without eyebrows, a pair of pure white eyes appeared in the pupil king. There are 2 dots printed on the forehead, and there are two broken horns in the shape of a forehead protector. Wearing spotless white clothes and carrying a red fish basket, he looks completely different from the ninja world. Oh, hith. So this is a trap you set. Uchiha, Sasuke. But this kind of thing can't stop me. Fox's chakra, I'm ordering. Urashiki stood in the air, overlooking the middle-aged Jiraiya and the young Sasuke, looked around and grinned. Greedy eyes wandered on Naruto, who exudes the power of nine tails. Sure, do you want to try? The youth Sasuke snorted coldly, turned his head to stun Naruto with an illusion, and threw Naruto away. The four Odanin who controlled the four purple flame formation instantly opened a hole and let Naruto fly out. The Shiraishi shadow clone outside immediately caught Naruto and stood outside to continue watching. Although all these movements are fast, it is easy for Sure to intercept them. However, the confident Sure did not make a move to intercept it. Don't you know that all that chakra forms is of no use to me? Boring trick. Sure squinted at Kenin and endured the disdain of the four, and threw the fishing rod in his hand violently. The youth Sasuke's figure flashed, and he came to the hook in an instant to block Pushiki's attack. At the same time, Curse Seal 2 open. The four of Odanin shouted loudly at the same time. The Curse Seal of the Earth immediately appeared on the four of them, completing the first Curse Seal in the blink of an eye, and quickly transformed into the second Curse Seal with a drastically changed image. The original pure purple purple flame array instantly burst out black curse marks from the four corners. Almost the entire surface of the enchantment is covered in the breath. Everything is done in less than 3 seconds. Unsuspecting, Urashiki is still fighting young Sasuke. Your chakra recovered? Quack quack. Then harvest your chakra and feast on it. After several battles, Urashiki was pleasantly surprised by the strong chakra of young Sasuke. After all, youth Sasuke's chakra is still delicious. What? Urashiki waved his fishing rod confidently, and the scarlet hook shot towards the young man Sasuke at high speed. Amaterasu youth Sasuke seized the opportunity and launched the strongest pupil technique directly. Even ignoring the fishhook attack, the figure flashed behind Sure and kicked Sure to the ground. The middle-aged Jiraiya, who was watching the battle below, immediately removed a shadow clone, and the Sage mode was instantly activated. Sage Art Big Ball Rasengan. The middle-aged Jiraiya is a killer move when he comes up, facing Sure, who is rushing down quickly. Ow! How is it possible? I can't catch his chakra. Urashiki, who fell to the ground very quickly, exclaimed, and Urashiki didn't care about middle-aged Jiraiya's chakra ball attack. With the movement of the fishing rod in his hand, he is about to absorb the chakra of the middle-aged Jiraiya. But when Sure confidently saw that the hook had sunk into the middle-aged Jiraiya's body, he was about to harvest chakra. The middle-aged Jiraiya Sage Art Big Ball Rasengan slammed into his face firmly. Feeling the moment of being really attacked, Urashiki showed disbelief, dumbfounded. The whites of both eyes, in an instant, turned blue Rinnegan. In an instant, the body turned into a few red light 1,000 paper cranes, scattered in all directions. In the next breath, Urashiki appeared behind the middle-aged Jiraiya with a bit of scar on his face. He flicked the fishhook with vicious eyes and was about to absorb chakra, who was surrounded by 4 Odanin. Something that surprised Urashiki happened. Fishhook 573, which is omnipotent, can't pass through the barrier formed by chakra. What the hell is going on? Sure looked at all this in a daze, doubting life around the fishing rod. At this moment, the ground under Sure's feet suddenly turned into more than a dozen soil thorns, shooting towards Sure at a very high speed. The speed was so fast that Sure almost got hit. Once again turned into a few red light 1,000 paper cranes ready to escape. Sage Art Hair, Needle, Samban. Sage Art thousands of hair needles. Suddenly, a loud shout came from the ground and the sky at the same time. 2 Jiraiya attack simultaneously. Countless thousands of densely packed thousands of paper cranes attacked the red light 1,000 paper cranes, transformed by Sure at the same time. A few red paper cranes immediately dodged at full speed between lightning and flint, finally managed to escape one and turned into Pooh again. But before Pooh breathed a sigh of relief, a thick stick appeared in front of his eyes. It hit him solidly, and the figure quickly flew backwards. Strange power fist. It hurts. At this moment, two soft drinks sounded in Pooh's ears. Punch and kick from the left and right in quick combos. The blue Rinnegan's blue light in Pooh's eyes flashed, and the time regression was activated. Back to a few seconds ago, Urashiki appeared again in the battle time with young Sasuke. The previous combo seemed to take a long time, but it was actually only about 4 seconds. Urashiki, who returned to this time, immediately climbed extremely fast, making the youth Sasuke's kick empty. Come out, hidden mouse. Pooh's eyes turned into white eyes, opened the white eyes, and shouted angrily. Found! Orochimaru, it seems that your senjutsu is not very good either. Idiot, fairy art is just to hide the breath. It is useless to buy in. No, you looked at his face? Scarred. That's right, Sasuke's attack just now didn't hurt him. Could it be the ability of the blue Rinnegan, back in time? It should be right. In other words, he was successfully attacked by us, and then back to the time when no attacks were launched. Should be. Debt. The Tsutsuki clan is really hard to deal with. The 2 generations of Sannin and Sarutobi Hiruzen analyzed in a hurry. Urashiki, who was in midair, saw the 8 people present together with the youth Sasuke. He looked at the 4 people who performed the enchantment technique. The face is green. There are so many people bullying so few people. Chapter 72. Pooh was cheated to death. Ziokiang gathered together. 3rd Hokage. 2 5th Hokage. 2 Orochimaru. 2 Jiraiya. Doppelganger? No, not a clone. It's all about the body. Pooh looked down at the people below, opened his high-purity white eyes, and observed carefully, and said in surprise, information on 3rd generation and Sannin. Urashiki knew it through the memories of Konoha Shinobi when he was looking for clues to Nine Tails. But why are there 2 identical individuals? Or 3 at once? Uchiha Sasuke, you brought them from other time and space with whole. How ignorant are fearless. In this way, your world will undergo great changes in the future. It was so much fun. Pooh's eyes trembled suddenly, and he stared at the young man, Sasuke, playfully. But Pooh was not too surprised. After all, he came here to pull out the 9 Tails in Naruto and change the future. You talk too much nonsense. The young man Sasuke knew that too many words would lead to mistakes, so he let out a cold snort and launched an attack directly. The next 2, Jiraiya and Orochimaru, also enter Sage mode at the same time. On the middle-aged Orochimaru's body, black lines of curse marks appeared. This is the seal of the sky that Orochimaru made for himself after knowing that only Senjutsu can hurt Tsutsuki. The 3rd generation is waving the ape demon Vajra stick that has been summoned long ago, ready to fight at any time. The 2 Tsunade are watching closely, waiting for the opportunity to move. Just when everyone was gearing up, after Urashi dodged the young man Sasuke's attack, a dark passage suddenly appeared behind him. It was Huang Quan Hirasaka, the ultimate time and space ninjutsu, relying on the special ability activated by one's own blood following the snare. Open a black portal out of thin air, you can freely shuttle in different spaces. Uchiha Sasuke, I will be back again. Pooh grinned arrogantly and shouted. The figure retreated slowly and was about to run away. Seeing this, Shiraishi Shadow Clone couldn't complain. Pooh style, worthy of being the most dogged Tsutsuki. In the original plot, both the young Sasuke and the middle-aged Jiraiya can retreat, and now this style is too in line with his character. Unfortunately, the youth Sasuke at this time will not give him a chance. Heaven's Hand Strength. The young man Sasuke's left eyelid Rinnegan pupil technique was activated, and Urashiki, who was about to escape, switched places with him instantly. Don't give him the chance to launch Huang Quan Biliang Saka. Seeing this, Shiraishi immediately reminded him aloud. Sage Art Big Ball Rasengan. The 2 Jiraiya immediately understood that the shot is the strongest attack. Sarutobi Hiruzen swung the stick and rushed up. Sage Art Inorganic Reincarnation. Orochimaru quickly sealed his hands and shouted in a low voice. The ground under his feet instantly swelled, and dozens of soil spikes attacked Pooh Shiur. Sword of Kusanagi, sword of the sky. The middle-aged Orochimaru opened his mouth and spat out the Kusanagi sword, controlled the long sword to lengthen rapidly, and stabbed him. In the original plot, the middle-aged Orochimaru is a reincarnated person, and the soul that devours the container can use ninjutsu for a short time. 3 years later, the body has a rejection reaction, and the hands are useless again. Now reincarnate White Zetsu, although there is no rejection. But the remaining weak soul of White Zetsu can only support China's use of low-level ninjutsu, facing the joint attack of several people. When Pooh Shiur was in an emergency, his white eyes switched to blue Rinnegan, and he turned into a few red paper cranes to hide. Amaterasu. Sasuke, a young man who had been prepared for a long time, fixed his eyes, and the flames of pitch-black Amaterasu swallowed all the red light 1,000 paper cranes in an instant. Just when the last red light 1,000 paper crane was about to be burned, it suddenly changed into Pooh Shiur's appearance. Urashiki grabbed the red pannier behind his waist and absorbed Amaterasu directly. In the blink of an eye, as soon as Pooh Shiur slapped his back basket, countless huge rocks flew out to stop everyone. The blue Rinnegan with both eyes turns into the red Lugadama Rinnegan, and if he activates Huang Quan Hirasaka again, he will run away. In the state of Lugiyu Rinnegan, it is much faster to open Huang Quan than Liang Saka. But no matter how fast it is, it can't be faster than the strength of the sky. Sasuke, a young man who looked at chakra for a while, was free and switched positions with Urashiki again by using his hand power. The important task that was blocked by the rock before, the big and small Tsunade punched the rock at the same time. Sage Art Big Ball Rasengan. Sage Art Big Ball Rasengan. The two Jiraiya rubbed out a big ball Rasengan again, and they were about to attack Urashiki. Seeing this, Pooh Shiur immediately raised his head and prepared to run again. It's hard to fight against so many people. He's out to loot the Nine Tails chakra, not waste chakra with unnecessary battles. It's not in his interest. Attack me. Young Sasuke saw that Urashiki was about to open Huang Quan Hirasaka again and shouted at the two Jiraiya. The two Jiraiya were just stunned for a moment and immediately reacted, one left and one right, and attacked the young Sasuke. Orochimaru's eyes flashed, and countless King Thorns attacked from the feet of young Sasuke. The middle-aged Orochimaru and the big and small Tsunade comprehended at the same time, blocking the escape route one after the other. Sarutobi Hiruzen's combat experience is also extraordinary. The diamond rod in his hand smashed down with overwhelming force. In an instant, the young Sasuke was attacked from left to right, up and down, and there were blocks from the front and rear to prevent him from escaping. The young man Sasuke's left-eyed Lugiyu Rinnegan once again used his hand power, and Urashiki, who had already stepped forward by 1 foot, was replaced by him. In an instant, two big ball Rasengan, King Thorn, and Vajrarod hit Pooh Shiur at the same time. This time, the sudden change left Lugiyu Rinnegan's Pushi with no time to transform the blue Rinnegan and activate time regression. And something even more unexpected happened. I saw that the two big ball Rasengan of Jiraiya resonated strangely and merged together in an instant. A larger blue-white Rasengan appeared outside of Pushi. The cutting power of the already terrifying Sage Art Big Ball Rasengan has once again increased in power. Urashiki wrapped in the upgraded version of Sage Art Big Ball Rasengan, the six-eyed Rinnegan trembling crazily. The fear of death makes Urashiki despair. At this moment, even if Pooh Shiur wanted to leave behind the wedge of resurrection, he had no ability. His body is being divided and ruptured rapidly, unable to move. Pooh Shiur regretted not coming up to erupt in the strongest crane form, so that he would have the strength to blast these people away in an instant. There's also Yin-Yang Escape Black Stick that can restrain their chakra. But thinking about it now doesn't help much. Even though he is the body of Tsutsuki, he can still be killed. The current Super Rasengan is powerless to resist. However, as a proud Tsutsuki, it's too embarrassing to be defeated by these ants. A flash of determination flashed in Pushur's eyes, and his eyes were instantly red. Orochimaru in sage mode suddenly felt something, and quickly urged the earth thorns to push the Rasengan into the sky. Pull everyone into the ground. Susanoo the youth Sasuke, who also felt something bad, let out a low cry, and two huge hands of Sasuke clasped the explosive Super Rasengan. In the next moment, a huge white light emerged from Susan's palm, and Susan's hand exploded directly. The overwhelming explosions blew in all directions. Stronger than the curse-printed version, the 4-purple flame array is also crumbling, almost shattered. This is the power after Susan suppressed most of the aftermath of the explosion. The 4 people of Inrin vomited blood at the same time, were seriously injured and fainted, and did not know whether they were alive or dead. The 4-purple flame formation that was on the verge of shattering also disappeared in an instant. Okay, this ruthless Pushur is too scary. Because of his intelligence advantage, he tried his best to suppress him, and he was almost killed together. If this is transformed, then it's okay. Shiraishi's shadow clone patted his chest and said in fear, then disappeared into white smoke. After all the brilliance dissipated, Orochimaru reappeared on the ground with everyone. Looking at the huge open space that had turned into scorched earth, Orochimaru couldn't help but sighed wryly. Still thinking about capturing Tsutsuki alive? They have the intelligence advantage, and that's it. Had Urashi entered what Shiraishi referred to as a transformed state, 1 or 2 people might actually have died. Is our Rasengan combined so well? Jiraiya stared dumbfounded at the destroyed place and said in amazement, because of the change fusion caused by the same chakra? But shouldn't be that powerful. Did Pushur expose the previous feeling? The middle-aged Jiraiya looked down at his right hand and whispered, after so much preparation, it turned out to be like this. ONJ. The middle-aged Orochimaru looked around and sighed after finding no trace of Urashiki's body remains. Immediately, the 4 Odinin who fell into a coma. How do I feel? This Uchiha style is not as big as the threat that Uchiha Madara gave me. Is that Sasuke Tsutsuki's strength at this level? After the little Tsunade let out a long breath, he looked at the youth Sasuke suspiciously. No, it's not that Urashiki is too weak, but that we know too much information. Add to that the surprise of my hand, and the fusion of those 2 Rasengans. All in all, the Poo-style snow has come to an end. Youth Sasuke recalled the previous battle and analyzed. Okay, go back and get ready to go home. Uchiha Madara is still waiting for us at Rain Shinobi Village. I don't know what happened to Nidame. Sarutobi Hiruzen concluded aloud, making everyone nod in agreement. 10 days later, original root base. Huh? A lot of people. It turns out that so many people are going to participate in special survival training missions. Damn, Mr. Kakashi is lying to me again. What kind of special mission are so many people? The 7th class came here according to the address given by Kakashi. Naruto suddenly made a fuss on them. Each carried a backpack with their belongings. Yes, indeed, even if it is a special team, this number is too much. Ordinary strengthening teams only have 6 or 7 people, but here there are more than a dozen people. Are we going to divide into 2 groups? Little Sakura looked at the familiar figures in front of her and turned her head in doubt. No matter what training it is, Kakashi said, as long as he goes through this special training, he will be at least Junin strength. At the same time, the 5th generation project will also increase the ninja level according to each person's performance. Possible. Maybe when I come back, I can. Sasuke looked at the commotion in front of the crowd with fiery eyes and lowered his voice. Well, I didn't expect you to come to participate in such a troublesome mission. Shikamaru, who was leaning on the doorframe, saw the 3 of them, opened his half-asleep eyes, and said lazily, Shikamaru, you can come here. Why can't we? By the way, haven't you been promoted to Chunin? How could you come to Wang Qianho to participate in this special training? Naruto yelled, looking at Shikamaru in the Chunin vest. No way, this is a task assigned by Lord 5th Generation. Shikamaru spread his hands helplessly, feeling weak. Haha, it's really rare. It's time to gather again for the Chunin exam. I will definitely perform well this time. Then go straight to Chunin. Inuzuka took Akamaru to several people to express his ambition. Just you? To be Chunin is also me, Lord Naruto. You are my defeat. Naruto couldn't help but groan when he heard Inuzuka Kiba's yelling. This made Inuzuka's face black instantly. But Naruto's performance at the beginning of Chunin has indeed surpassed him. This is embarrassing. Oh, I must be able to bloom my youth again. Mr. Guy, I will not let you down. Suddenly, Xiao Li's passionate words erupted from the crowd, interrupted the embarrassing atmosphere. Xiao Li, your injury happened not long ago. Don't be so excited. I followed Xiao Li every day and said earnestly, Naruto, I won't lose to you this time. And you, Uchiha Sasuke, looking forward to meeting you. Hyuga Niji faded away from the previous hostility and stepped forward to look at the two of them. I am looking forward. A trace of arrogance appeared on Sasuke's face, pretending as always. After a short period of nurturing by middle-aged Orochimaru, Sasuke's confidence hit by Naruto is back. I'm waiting for your challenge. Naruto smiled brightly, stretched out his thumb, and said to Niji. Chapter 73 The Sarutobi team is on the stage. Ziokiang exploded Brother Naruto. Suddenly, an excited and immature shout came from behind Naruto. Make Naruto and the others look sideways at the same time. Would Konohamaru? What are you doing here? Naruto looked at Konohamaru, who was a head and a half shorter with wide eyes, and said in surprise. Immediately afterwards, Naruto thought of the interview in the second Chunin exam before and suddenly realized. Do you want to make an interview report again? Although a bit troublesome. Anyway, I'll do my best this time. Naruto coughed twice, pretending to be serious, and said solemnly, What the hell? That's not it. I am also here to participate in this special training. Brother Naruto, this time we are opponents. I will definitely surpass you. Konohamaru flicked the long scarf around his neck and shouted with fiery eyes. In an instant, both Naruto and others were stunned by this situation. What kind of special training is this? Not to mention Genin and Chunin, but now even the students from ninja school are brought in. Wrong. Konohamaru, I remember you haven't graduated yet. Why are you participating in this special training? And why didn't you take anything? We all have to carry a lot of things with us. It is said that this special training will take a long time. Naruto questioned again in a fuss, which attracted the approval of others. How to say it can't be that the kid from the ninja school also participates. If so, I am suddenly a little disappointed in this special training. Sasuke cast a glance at Konohamaru and pretended again. What? I don't know about this. Leak. Konohamaru was glanced at by everyone and immediately scratched his head and said with a smirk. Big. Everyone, with just when Konohamaru was embarrassed. Hinata walked up to her sister Hanabi and said hello. Hinata? Hanabi? Hinata, why did you bring Hanabi here? 707 Niji asked with a bad expression after seeing the two carrying two backpacks, one big and one small. Niji big brother, Tonhuo, was also in the special training list. Hinata glanced at everyone with pure white eyes, paused for half a second on Naruto, and then explained in a low voice. Niji big brother, please take care of me. Hanabi stepped forward with two big steps and bowed earnestly. Niji's level of genius, Hanabi has already seen during the Chunin exam. She also participated? No way. Now I doubt the danger of this special training. That's right. I heard that it is a dangerous training to sign a life-and-death certificate. In an instant, Niji and everyone were not calm and exclaimed again, Oh, we meet again. Hello, everyone. Ino, Chai, and Shino heard the noise and heard the news. After the training of the Chunin exam, everyone is familiar with each other. A group of people gathered together and began to discuss the content of the special training enthusiastically. They are all Konoha shinobi? What the hell is Orochimaru-sama doing? And these two troublesome guys. In the corner, Guidang Shueiwa looked at the noisy Konoha people, then at the two people around him and muttered. Beside him is the quiet Libra Shigego. and the timid and shy Uzumaki Keirin. Uzumaki was discovered by Orochimaru after the Chunin exam and brought back to Inin village. At this time, there is no future boldness and pungentness. Shuei does not have the strength of the Shippuden period now, and is suppressed by the experiment, and her Shinshin has improved a lot. Boom! Just when everyone was discussing, a cloud of white smoke suddenly sounded. Fifth generation Tsunade, middle-aged Jiraiya, and Kakashi appeared in front of everyone. Master Fifth Hokage. Everyone immediately restrained their minds and shouted respectfully. Fifth generation Tsunade nodded slightly, and Kaka, CBCC. Next to him stepped forward 2 steps west and looked at the crowd below seriously. B. Next, you will participate in a special long-term survival training. It was a cruel battlefield. I can't guarantee that you won't die. However, Konoha will try her best to keep you alive. This test is different from the training you have participated in before. For the sake of confidentiality, all participants will be sealed to prevent leakage of any information. Unseal after returning to Konoha. Of course, we still take voluntary registration. Those who want to participate stay. Those who do not want to participate can go out. As long as you return safely, the village will promote you as Konoha Junin. Sign up now. After Kakashi briefly explained the situation, he looked at everyone with sharp eyes. Konoha 12's Aoki had a look of surprise and excitement on his face. He didn't expect the village to be so generous. After passing the special training, I will become Konoha Junin. As for being sealed for secrecy and the crisis of life and death, they had already experienced it when they went through the forest of death. Not too emotional. Suijitsu, Shigego, and Xianlin were all sent by Orochimaru, and they already had seals on their bodies, so naturally they didn't feel anything. Only Konohamaru and Hanabi, who participated in this kind of thing for the first time, were a little terrified. Sparks standing behind Hinata, looking at Hinata, who was motionless. A pair of white eyes slightly widened. This once weak sister and the genius Niji big brother have not retreated, so how can she retreat here? Recalling the encouraging expression of his father Hayashi before, Hanabi finally made up his mind. She won't back down. Death is death. How could I be left behind by brother Naruto here? After a while, Konohamaru gritted his teeth and said in a low voice with firm eyes, "Relax, Konohamaru. I will fight to the death to protect you." Naruto heard Konohamaru's determination, turned his head and smiled brightly at Konohamaru. Brother Naruto. Konohamaru's face was filled with joy. His eyes were filled with tears, and his heart was touched. Since the death of his grandfather, third Hokage, Naruto has given him a lot of comfort. Brother Naruto, you are so inferior. I don't want your protection. I will prove that I can protect myself and everyone else by myself. Hey. Maybe I will protect Naruto-san next time. Maybe you too. Konohamaru let go of the emotion in his heart, raised his head, and said arrogantly. Naruto was taken aback when he heard the words and turned his head impatiently. A smile appeared on the corners of their mouths, almost at the same time. That child is the orphan of the 4th generation. Konohamaru is indeed a child who inherited the will of fire. I suddenly looked forward to the two of them. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was hiding in the dark, murmured while watching the conversation between Naruto and Konohamaru. Jiraiya and Jiraiya, next to each other, know their future, and they also look sideways. No one quit. Then, sign the death waiver agreement now. After Kakashi waited for a few minutes, seeing that no one left, he took out a stack of forms and said, "Etc. There is one more person." Just then, Shiraishi's voice came from outside the door. Immediately afterwards, he was seen pulling a little girl to appear in front of everyone. Everyone's eyes turned back at the same time. Moyello, Konohamaru, and Naruto shouted in surprise when they saw the little girl. "It's you." Seeing the change in Shiraishi's eyes, Sasuke remembered the previous question and exclaimed, "Shiraishi, does she qualify too?" 5th generation Tsunade glanced at Mo Huang suspiciously and said to Shiraishi, "Of course, she has the same abilities as your grandfather. Although the quality and power are not satisfactory, but training well is an existence beyond Jinin. Shiraishi waved away the timid Kazutsuri Miko and said calmly. This is when he was walking this way just now. He ran into Mo Huang, who was crying after saying goodbye to Konohamaru. Then I thought of Mo Huang's performance during the Boruto Pass. In an instant, fifth generation Tsunade, the two Jiraiya, Sarutobi Hiruzen, Kakashi, and Kakashi Miko looked at Kazaki with surprise. The same ability as Tsunade's grandfather. Isn't that what style? Orochimaru, who knew what style was the power of Ashura, was even more surprised. The middle-aged Orochimaru did not appear here because of identity issues. Cough, cough. Now sign the death waiver agreement. Kakashi interrupted everyone's train of thought with a dry cough. The others turned their heads and began to sign the death exemption agreement. Meng Wang also followed Konohamaru to sign the agreement in a daze. Sealing class, you can start. After seeing everyone sign the death waiver agreement, fifth generation Tsunade shouted to the door. Seeing this, Shiraishi immediately jumped onto the stage to stand with fifth generation Tsunade and the others. While the others were still in a daze, a complex sealing circle suddenly rose up under their feet. Rows of pitch-black spells emerged from the ground and crawled towards everyone's bodies like ghostly drawn symbols. In an instant, everyone wanted to resist subconsciously. Don't be afraid. This is a sealing technique to prevent leaks. As the team leader, I also want to engrave this seal technique. Kakashi immediately shouted loudly, and everyone saw that Kakashi's body was also entangled by the spell. Immediately relieved, I didn't expect Mr. Kakashi to be the captain. Hey. This time our 7th class is going to surpass everyone. Naruto laughed excitedly after hearing this. The others looked at Class 7 with complicated eyes when they heard the words. Why didn't their teacher serve as the captain? Naruto, don't think about it. I am a captain of all the staff this time, and I am not involved in the task of the 7th class. All of you can come to me for anything. I am only responsible for coordinating your tasks and life problems. How could Kakashi not know what Naruto and others thought and immediately expressed his opinion? Naruto was about to speak when the middle-aged Jiraiya saw that the sealing technique was completed and clapped his hands on the ground. Ninja Law, Toad Mouth Binding Technique. Countless meat walls suddenly appeared from all directions, and Gong Zhou's room was wrapped by the stomach wall of the toad. What is this? It's disgusting. Toad's stomach wall? What else are you going to do? Everyone was distracted by this sudden change and looked around in amazement and questioned. At this moment, 4 figures appeared from the stomach wall of the toad and stood in front of everyone. Just appearing on the stage, everyone froze in place, stunned and unbelievable. And another 5th generation lord? Is that Master Jiraiya? How can you be so young? The Orochimaru, that terrifying S-rank ninja. How did he appear here? That person, why does he look a bit like Lord 3rd generation? No, it's not like. He is what my grandfather looked like when he was young, and I have photos at home. But how is this possible? Konohamaru, you say he is 3rd generation grandpa? No way, he looks so young. No, hasn't the 3rd generation grandpa died already? Illusion? Sharingan on blind eyes. They are all entities, real people. Shadow clone? Not quite. Lord 5th generation shouldn't make such a joke. What the hell is going on here? Chapter 74, go back and engage Madara. How did you lose this round of flying dragon riding face Grandma Tsunade? Pervy sage. What's going on? Why are there 2 pervy sages and 2 Granny Tsunades? And how is that Orochimaru guy here? He was the BD Basilisk who killed 3rd generation grandpa and destroyed Konoha. Also, Deiji said that the person is the 3rd generation grandpa. But isn't 3rd generation grandpa already dead? Naruto couldn't bear to ask again and again, offending several people in an instant. How many times have I said, don't call me mother-in-law? You stinky brat. Who are you calling mother-in-law dash? Big and small Tsunade glared at the same time and shouted, trying hard to control the urge to hit someone. Idiot, I'm not some pervy sage. The youth Jiraiya went up unceremoniously and was shocked and said aggrievedly, although he is lecherous, He is not as thick-skinned as middle-aged Jiraiya. BD Snake Demon? Naruto, I will take good care of you from now on. Orochimaru's expression was stagnant, and he deliberately licked his lips and smiled evilly. I think less of you, brat. This old man is not a dead person, not a dead person. Hearing about death again, the corner of Sarutobi Hiruzen's mouth twitched. Are you my grandfather? Konoha stepped forward and stared at Sarutobi Hiruzen with trembling eyes and asked anxiously. Sarutobi Hiruzen's old face froze when he heard this, a little embarrassed. His eldest son, Sarutobi Shinosuke, is only 5 years old now. This grandson is older than his father. Is this what makes you happy? This old man is third Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen. Forget it, it's your grandfather. Sarutobi Hiruzen quickly adjusted his mentality and said embarrassingly, Is it? Konoha was startled at first, then stared at Sarutobi Hiruzen suspiciously. At this age, at most, he can be his father. How could it be his grandfather, Sarutobi Hiruzen? Konoha, let's try their real identities. Hearing Konohamaru's suspicion, Naruto broke out in the madra of both hands and shouted chakra. I see, Naruto-san. Konohamaru realized instantly and shouted with his hands and seal. These two guys, don't they want to fight? In an instant, everyone's eyes gathered in the past. Seduction technique. Following two shouts, two streams of white smoke drifted past with a wow. The blonde-haired Naruto and the black-haired Maruko appeared in front of everyone. Master Jiraiya, Master Third Hokage. As soon as the female version appeared, she embraced the youth Jiraiya and Sarutobi Hiruzen in a seductive way. Young people Jiraiya and Sarutobi Hiruzen stared dumbfounded at the glamorous girl in front of her, almost at the same time. Six Paths' nosebleeds spurted out at the same time. His eyes were red and white, and he fell to the ground with an intoxicated face. Why is there a Six Paths nosebleed? The other two are sponsored by middle-aged Jiraiya. These two super idiots. The worried Sasuke instantly had black lines all over his head, and the corners of his mouth twitched. What a shame. Little Sakura lowered her head and bit her back molars, holding her forehead in embarrassment. These two perverts. The young Hanabi scolded at the blushing voice. Hinata, who was in front of her, trembled and looked at Naruko, who lowered her head shyly. I am defeated by this kind of guy. Niji looked at Naruko suspiciously, a big tic-tac-toe raised on his forehead. Orochimaru and Tsunade Jr. watched Jiraiya and third generation fall. Even more speechless plus shame, these two guys are really not serious ninjas. Not to mention the reactions of others. Even Shiraishi looked at the two of them with critical eyes and disdain at this time. Sure enough, he was recruited. Not to mention pervy sage. Naruto released the transformation technique with a bang, pointing at the young Jiraiya proudly. Are you really my perverted grandpa? Konohamaru said cheerfully with big eyes flashing, and then also unlocked the seduction technique. The youth Jiraiya and Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at each other, pretending to be dizzy with a tacit understanding. What shame. Let me explain the mission and your problems. After Kakashi witnessed the whole process, he reprimanded him leisurely and said, in an instant, everyone's attention was diverted. Let me first introduce, they are indeed Lord Third Generation and Konoha Sannin. However, they are not from our side. It's the 32nd year of Konoha, which is the third Hokage and the young Sannin during the Second Ninja World War. Your mission is to go to Konoha 32 to participate in the Second Ninja World War. Growing up there, when the time is right, this side will bring you back. When Kakashi said this, everyone was dumbfounded. Traveling through time to the time and space of World War II, this kind of thing can't even think of killing them. This is equivalent to the military region suddenly notifying a group of special forces. Sending you guys to fight devils in World War II feels almost exactly the same. But in an instant, everyone showed eagerness to try. The Second Ninja War. That was the era when many legends of Konoha were born. At the same time, it is also the era when their parents existed. The unlucky Sasuke and Niji are already short of breath at this time, and the excitement is beyond words. Even Naruto has a similar expression. Does this mean that he can find his parents? Konohamaru was dumbfounded and excited at the same time. Does this mean he can meet his father whom he has never met? The Ino Shika CH trio are also looking forward to it, and the previous Ino Shika CH did not give them less pressure. Of course, there are those who are terrified of World War II. After all, according to the older generation, it was a cruel era. Looks like you've all figured it out. Well, let me be clear again. That world is not connected to ours. In other words, it was just a World War II time in space similar to ours. What happens there doesn't affect our side. That's why we dare you to grow up in the past. Based on the above, so you cannot disclose any information about this world, including family information, village information, future war trends, etc. Whether as a person of that era or being known by spies from other villages, it will be an irreparable disaster. As long as you say any information about the future, the binding sealing technique will paralyze you and lose the ability to speak. The second time, you will paralyze your nervous system and pass out. I don't need to say more about the consequences of fainting on the battlefield. When you get there, Lord Third Hokage will rearrange your identities for you. There are other things you can find me. If you choose to quit now, you can only join Umbu to prevent leaks. Now, do you have any questions? Kakashi looked at everyone and explained the situation concisely. I have a question. Why is there this experiment? Since the future information cannot be revealed, this is just a cruel life and death elimination. Wouldn't it be too cruel to train and grow in this way? We can grow up safely in this world. Little Sakura gritted her teeth and was the first to reach out and ask. No, you don't have time. 3 years later, the fourth ninja war will break out in the ninja world. That battle was even crueler than the sum of the previous 3 wars. If you're not careful, the entire ninja world will become history. So for Konoha, I made this plan. 5th generation Tsunade seems to have known that someone would ask such a question and stepped forward. The 4th ninja war? Everyone gasped and looked at 5th generation Tsunade in disbelief. Sorry, Lord 5th generation, how do you know the news after 3 years? Even if it is true, why can't we prevent the war from happening? Shikamaru's eyes froze, and he asked questioningly. You're not qualified to know the source now. However, this is a fact we have established. For battles can be avoided, but what about the following battles? All I can tell you is that your generation faces things far beyond the wars we have experienced. The 4th World War was just the beginning, and there will be more terrifying existences behind. That was a disaster that spread to the entire ninja world. If you want to escape even the 4th battle, then there is only destruction in the end. You are all genius ninjas of this generation of Konoha. In the original future, some of you sacrificed, some went astray, and some became heroes, asking for flowers. However, you all end up fighting for Konoha and your family. So don't leave any regrets for your future. Let's grow up desperately. In the end, Konoha will depend on you to protect it. 5th generation Tsunade took a deep breath and announced loudly. There is pressure to be motivated. That's why 5th generation Tsunade revealed some information, to prevent everyone from lacking a sense of urgency and missing growth at the most suitable age for cultivation. A more terrifying existence. It affects the ninja world, the horrors our generation is going to live through. I see. Feel the blood start to boil. Mr. Guy, I understand your good intentions in teaching me all the secret skills. Heroes? Are we the saviors? Akamaru, do your best. Genius. I'm a genius. Brother Naruto, I will lose to you. Are you kidding me? How could I let Konoha be destroyed? Pervy Sage, I will risk my life to practice. Shiraishi looked at the familiar shouts and cries of faith and gave 5th generation Tsunade a thumbs up in his heart. Just like this, there are still a few of them who want to fall in love. This will be of great help to his poaching plan. Hey, with the protagonist group, you can work for free. How did you lose this round of flying dragon riding face? For ninja villages? That's the big 4 pig farms. There's nothing wrong with raising pigs and training soldiers. Is no one quitting? Now, take off your forehead protector, chnin vest, and everything that represents the future. Over there, You'll be assigned new identities by the third generation. Seeing this, Kakashi turned his head and shouted at the crowd. The people who made up their minds were slightly startled, and they took off their forehead protectors and a few items and put them on the table. The only Chunin Shikamaru reluctantly took off the Chunin Mali he had only worn for a month. Hey Shikamaru, we are all Genin again. Seeing this, Naruto couldn't help but gloated and joked. For the sake of confidentiality, I want to hypnosis you now. Don't resist. Illusion Nirvana abode technique. After Kakashi saw that the preparations were completed, Kakashi finally got married. 18 people only felt the familiar white feathers drifting in front of their eyes. With Kakashi's instructions, everyone did not resist the illusion and fell into a deep sleep. Then, their safety is up to you. Fifth generation Tsunade said solemnly to Sarutobi team. Don't worry, we are allies. There are also Konoha ninjas. Orochimaru nodded seriously, and Sarutobi Hiruzen and Jiraiya, who were loaded, stood up and nodded at the same time. Then let's go. The young man Sasuke walked in from the Toad Wall, carrying the fainted Boruto. Plow takes us back to the 32nd year of Konoha, the time period we left. Seeing the gazes cast by several people, Shiraishi took out the little turtle and said, during this time, he is fully charged. When Shiraishi's voice fell, a light barrier suddenly came out from the tortoise, covering all directions. The middle-aged Jiraiya and fifth generation Tsunade exchanged glances and backed away at the same time. They are not needed against Uchiha Madara. A youth Sasuke, who restores chakra, is enough. Well, after Shiraishi crushed the young Nine Tails again, the youth Sasuke's chakra has recovered. With a swipe, Shiraishi and the others turned into fluorescent lights and disappeared before fifth generation Tsunade's eyes. Jiraiya dispersed the stomach wall of the toad. We should get down to business. Fifth generation Tsunade glanced at the items left by everyone, then turned to the middle-aged Jiraiya and said, "What's up?" The middle-aged Jiraiya was taken aback when he heard the words, and he didn't know how to unravel ninjutsu. Of course it's a mission. You can't entrust the pressure to those children. It's time for us older generations to increase our strength. Fifth generation Tsunade walked out of the room slowly, the voice resounding in middle-aged Jiraiya's ears. Tsunade, you're looking more and more like Hokage now. What's the plan? The middle-aged Jiraiya raised his eyebrows, followed by asking, temporarily let them learn the 8 inner gates exercise to enhance their physique. Then, wait for Shiraishi to come. The middle-aged Tsunade raised her red lips and thought of Shiraishi's suggestion with a light smile. Chapter 75 Peak Sasuke vs. Old Madara. Black Zetsu panicked Konoha, 32 years reign country. The tall, blue full-body Susanoo stand between the sky and the earth. The boundless force of terror presses in all directions. Uchiha Madara stood at the crystal on Susan's forehead, with his hands folded on his chest, and the scarlet Sharingan was crimson. Under the feet is the scorched earth that has just been extinguished by the fire but has been devoured. Aren't you coming out yet? Uchiha Madara grunted coldly with no expression on his face, and Susan moved freely. Step on the right foot in the direction where Orochimaru and the others are hiding. Don't worry about Nagato being trampled into meat. Underground, quick, take us back in time to the first Hokage period. Feeling the collapsed Shiraishi above, he hurriedly said to the little turtle. A ray of golden light emerged from the little turtle in an instant, pulling everyone away and disappearing. Next breath, the surrounding space distorted for a while, and the little turtle appeared in an instant. A golden light flashed, and everyone was thrown out. The limbs and head of the paralyzed tortoise quickly retracted into the shell, temporarily dormant. It is the first time that so many people have moved time. Rumbling, the soil layer above everyone's heads jumped away quickly, and a giant blue foot was about to crush everyone. Susan. The eyes of the young Sasuke were scarlet. The chakra on his body exploded, and the purple Sasuke all over his body was quickly formed. Protect everyone blocked that giant foot. Sure enough, he didn't die. Feeling the resistance under his feet, Uchiha Madara snorted confidently. This had long been expected by him. So this attack was useless. You get out of here, 193. The youth Sasuke exhorted everyone, and the purple awns on his body swelled again. On the ground, a purple Valkyrie's giant fist suddenly emerged from the ground, and it hit the sole of the blue Suzu's foot with one punch. Caught off guard, the blue Susan Takashi staggered back a few steps. It seems that there are only a few steps, but in reality, it is hundreds of meters away. Susanoo? How is this possible? The repelled Uchiha Madara shrank his pupils, looked at the purple one, and shouted. Immediately afterwards, Uchiha Madara's pupils contracted again. In front of his eyes, a purple full-body mighty Susan took shape instantly. Not only that, the purple Susan is at least 20 meters taller than his blue Susan. The perfect Susanoo can only be comprehended by the eternal Mangeki. When did such a genius appear in Uchiha? Uchiha Madara stared at Susan opposite with an ugly face. Unbelievable. No, that is... Renegade. Suddenly, Uchiha Madara's eyes froze and saw the face of the young Sasuke's Renegade, who was facing him, change drastically. At this moment, even with Uchiha Madara's mind, I couldn't help being shocked. Renegade? Is it Renegade of Madara? No, Madara's Renegade doesn't have those 6 gems. What the hell is going on here? Why did he only awaken one Renegade? Could it be because of those 6 hook jades? Luguyu Renegade, already very close to the mother's Jiguyu reincarnation Sharingan. How did this guy awaken Luguyu Sharingan? How could Renegade be awakened without the power of Indra and Ashura? Could it be that Ashura was reincarnated as Senju Hashirama? Black Zetsu, who was hiding in Uchiha Madara's body, was also shocked, excited, and suspicious. Unexpectedly, there is another one. Compared with the existence of Uchiha Madara, Konoha's strength is so terrifying. Hanzo stared at the tall Susan, who was almost the same in stature, and said in a trembling, hoarse voice, "Who dares to provoke Konoha with such strength? Not good, go back quickly. This battle is not something we can watch." Suddenly, Hanzo's expression changed, and he beckoned his subordinates to retreat immediately. Shiraishi and their side, Orochimaru, quickly entered Sage mode after the youth Sasuke broke out, activated the inorganic reincarnation, and led everyone to retreat to the hill. Is that Uchiha Madara's strength? Sasuke, I will reach that height in the future. The 3 Tomo Sharingan in Kakashi's left, I turned wildly, staring at the 2 tall Susan, and exclaimed. His ninja forehead protector also stays in the future. Not only him, but the Sarutobi squad was also shocked by the strength of the youth Sasuke. Orochimaru's gaze turned to the fainted boy Sasuke, with intense interest in his eyes. Is the power of Indra so terrifying? The shock that young Sasuke brought to several people at this moment far surpassed Fushigi. After all, people always experience the world in their own limited cognition, seeking advantages and avoiding disadvantages. A skeptical or negative attitude towards things and people beyond cognition. 3rd generation project. I think let them witness the future. Lest pride and complacency harm others and yourself. It can also inspire their fighting spirit. It can be regarded as the first lesson for them in this world. Shiraishi looked at the 2 Susans who were in a stalemate and turned to 3rd generation. Will this damage their self-confidence? 3rd generation was a little worried, and it would be counterproductive if everyone was frightened. Won't. With Naruto around, they will only get stronger and stronger. Shiraishi cast a glance, and Naruto thought to himself, the ninja mouth escapes the strong. Are you kidding me? I agree. If they can't even resist this pressure, then we look forward to their growth too much. Kakashi looked at Shiraishi in surprise and said emphatically with both hands sealed, his mission is to do everything possible to help the Muyi Tian talent group grow. Suppression is also a means. He has faith in these guys. Seeing that Kakashi had agreed, 3rd generation did not stop it. Untie. With a low shout from Kakashi, the Nirvana abode technique was unlocked by him. Also at this time, the youth Sasuke sensed that they were fleeing and began to attack. Inferno-style flame control. The youth Sasuke let out a low cry, and the purple Sasuke immediately raised his bow and drew an arrow. A tens of meters long arrow made of Amaterasu black flame pierced the sky. Is this Izuna's flame control? Seeing this, Uchiha Madara's eyes trembled, and he looked at the youth Sasuke in disbelief. At the same time, the chakra broadsword in his hand was unsheathed in an instant, blocking Amaterasu's arrow in front of him. Youth Sasuke's right eye is eternal Mangeki turned, and the simplified Amaterasu black flame immediately turned into flames to break through the blockade and rush towards Uchiha Madara. And the purple Suzuwa took the opportunity to spread his wings, like a big rock spreading its wings and rushing towards it at a high speed. The hurricane caused by a wave of wings is like two high-level wind styles. The blown giant trees are broken, and the wind, sand and rocks are in a mess. The Ziokiang who had just woken up had not yet converted their consciousness, but they were thrown into a mess by the hurricane that spread. Lightning style, Chidori sharp gun. Youth Sasuke made a move with one hand, and a Chidori of ultimate nature transformation appeared in his hand, which instantly extended to stab Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara ignored Amaterasu's black flame, let out a low shout, and began to form seals with both hands. Uchiha Flame Formation. Uchiha Madara quickly completed the knot seal and slapped on the Susan crystal under her feet. Between lightning and flint, a huge underground flame burst out from the blue Susan's feet in an instant. Whether it's Amaterasu Black Flame, or lightning-style Chidori, or the collision of Purple Susan, fear is to be blocked by the Scarlet Flame enchantment, not to be able to advance an inch. On the contrary, there were large burns on the Purple Suzuwa's body. Although Amaterasu Black Flame claims that nothing is inflammable, it was almost extinguished by the flame array. With a thought of the young Sasuke, he spread his wings behind him, and the huge Susan instantly rose into the wind. Planetary devastation. Youth Sasuke stared at Rinnegan in the left eye, and directly exploded with a big move. He knows all too well what Uchiha Madara is capable of. To continue will only waste chakra and create a crisis for yourself. The planetary devastation of Lugiyu Rinnegan is fundamentally different from ordinary Rinnegan. There is no need to make black balls in advance, but to seal directly with the sealed target as the core. Therefore, this trick is also a quite unsolvable sealing technique. As strong as the nine-tailed beasts, it was sealed with just one look. Planetary devastation. There is no surgical medium. Would style birth of the tree realm. Uchiha Madara looked at the rapidly agglomerated clods of dirt on his face, clapped his hands, and shouted loudly. Numerous trees rose from under the Purple Susan's feet, and four Susan's hands swung their swords together with style to resist the seal. Black Zetsu possessed in Uchiha Madara's body is almost scared to pee at this time. If this one fails, he will be sealed, but now voluntary escape will arouse Uchiha Madara's suspicion. Therefore, Black Zetsu can only secretly pray that Uchiha Madara can resist this wave of attacks, and at the same time be prepared to run. At the last resort, even if it is exposed, it cannot be sealed here. Feeling the increasingly powerful seal, Jibo Madara jumped out of Susan immediately and prepared to dodge temporarily. But the young man Sasuke had long been guarded against this trick, and countless Amaterasu black flames spread all over the crystal in an instant. As long as Uchiha Madara dares to come out, he will not be spared in his mortal body. No solution anymore. Would style true several thousand hands. Uchiha Madara glanced at the surrounding situation, clapped his hands again, and shouted loudly. Although this will shorten his few remaining lifespans, it is worth it if he thinks that he can harvest a Rinnegan. In an instant, a gigantic Senju Buddha rises from the feet of Uchiha Madara, with the upper Senju arms supporting the seals in all directions. Uchiha Madara broke out again, and chakra quickly closed the seal. This true several thousand hands does not have the blessing of sage art, so its power is not very powerful. At the same time, Uchiha Madara's Susan withdrew his broadsword and made seal together. Tengai Shinsei. While breathing, Uchiha Madara finished the knot and shouted in a low voice. Under the horrified gaze of the Sarutobi team, and all the small powerhouses, a huge meteorite came from the sky. With the momentum of meteor fire rain, it came to the top of young Sasuke's head in the blink of an eye. The youth Sasuke looked back at the Konoha people. The attack range already included their location. Thinking of Orochimaru's previous Sage mode, inorganic reincarnation, young Sasuke let go of his worries. Prepare to fly and dodge. At this moment, Uchiha Madara's Susan waved. A huge chain of gouges blocked his way. It was Uchiha Madara's 8-foot Kiongoyu. But just such an interruption, the youth Sasuke lost the opportunity. Uchiha Madara's idea is very simple. Since it can't prevent the seal from defeating the caster, it's the same. Young Sasuke's eyes flashed brightly, and the purple Sasuke sword was unsheathed. The huge meteorite split into two instantly and fell in all directions, Earth-style earth flow wall. Kakashi saw the rubble coming towards them, quickly completed the seal with both hands, and slapped the ground and shouted. In front of everyone, a mud flow wall carved with a dog's head instantly rose from the ground. This Jane, it's been a catastrophic battle. Who are they? Okay, so scary. Is this the Second Ninja World War? I feel that our previous battles were just playing tricks. Are we going to fight an enemy of this level? We just can't bear the aftermath of the 4.6 battle. How can there be enemies of this level? This kind of power can definitely kill that guy. All the little powerhouses were instantly fooled by this explosive battle. Next one. What about the second one? Uchiha Madara was not at all surprised when he saw the broken meteorite, but smiled as if the scheme had succeeded. No, there's another one on top. At this moment, Niji, who rolled his eyes, suddenly shouted. Everyone looked up and saw another meteorite of the same size appeared behind the split meteorite. The purple Susan, who swung a knife, didn't even have time to block again, was bumped into Susan's body solidly and fell to the ground. Black Zetsu was secretly relieved to see this. Even the perfect Susanoo can't catch this huge meteorite from outside. This is not an ordinary collision, but a super impact force beyond its own weight. Uchiha Madara is also looking like a winner. With this kind of attack, at most, the young man would be seriously injured, but not fatal. Leguyu Rinnegan, he recovered. Just before the youth Sasuke's Susan was about to be crushed, the youth Sasuke turned his head calmly, and Leguyu Rinnegan trembled. Uchiha Madara swaps his body instantly. Looking at the huge meteorite close at hand, Uchiha Madara was stunned. Just now, what happened? Black Zetsu was even more flustered, unable to figure out what went wrong. But this time is no longer allowed for them to think about these things. Chapter 76, the elderly Madara, who has been heartbroken, Black-White Zetsu, is birth. The attack range is too large, and time is running out. There is no way to escape. Then, Uchiha Madara looked at the meteorite that had been crushed. His brain was spinning rapidly, and his hands were quickly forming seals. The right eye, 3 Tomo Sharingan, emits a dazzling red on. Immortal Orochimaru also sensed the super-large meteorite falling at a high speed at the moment when Niji exited. Quickly seal the seal with both hands to activate all the magic spells, Chakra shouted. Sage Art, Inorganic Reincarnation. In an instant, the ground under everyone's feet landed quickly, forming a square hole. At the same time, countless hard rocks formed rapidly like umbrellas, forming a rock barrier to protect everyone's heads. Earth-style Earth Flow Wall, 1 Earth-style Earth Wall. Earth-style Earth Flow Wall. Earth-style Earth Flow Wall. Sarutobi Hiruzen, Jiraiya, Kakashi, Shiraishi shouted quickly. 4 earth walls rise from the 4 sides in an instant and reinforce the rock shield from the 4 sides. Ninja Summoning Technique. Tsunade took the opportunity to summon Katsuyu again and distributed them to each child just in case, rumbling. At the same time that Tsunade formed a seal, the meteorite collided violently with the ground. The air waves aroused by the huge impact are like Shenluo Tianzhong, impacting in all directions. The violent impact was like a 10th-level typhoon passing through, and the giant trees, mountains, and rocks were swept away like ants in an instant. There is no grass growing in the surrounding 5 kilometers. leaving only bare and messy land. The impact of the meteorite on the ground even made the ground break a super big crater. Half of the volume of the entire meteorite crashed into the ground, and half of it was exposed outside to form a hill of ore. The earthquake waves caused by the impact spread all over the world, trembling the entire land of rain and several other countries. You died. Youth Sasuke stood on top of the meteorite mountain, looking at the meteorite under his feet, and whispered, "This level of attack is quite dangerous, even if he faces it head-on. It's just that the old Uchiha Madara should not be spared from being caught off guard just now." At this moment, an illusory figure formed behind the youth Sasuke. Without a sound, a spike formed by a black stick went straight behind the young and middle-aged Sasuke. Just when the youth Sasuke was about to be stabbed by the black stick, the space between them suddenly distorted, and the black stick was divided into two by the space. This turn of events not only shocked Uchiha Madara, who was attacking, it also made the youth Sasuke react. Amaterasu, without the slightest hesitation, the youth Sasuke turned his head and fired another Amaterasu black flame directly into the speed. This time, countless Amaterasu black flames literally enveloped Uchiha Madara's body and limbs. In the distance, Kakashi clutched the scarlet Manjiki Sharingan. Blood and tears flowed from his fingertips. Beside him is the Sarutobi team and others. So close. That is Uchiha Madara's six paths technique, Yin Yang Dunhei Rod. If it is pierced into the body by that, chakra will be disturbed, and the body will be bound by a black rod. Maybe it will overturn in the gutter. Shiraishi looked at Uchiha Madara, who was enveloped by Amaterasu's black flame in the distance, and felt sorry for him. He also didn't know whether the current youth Sasuke could be immune to the black stick attack, so he asked Kakashi to help. Is that the ultimate manifestation of Yin Yang done? Orochimaru murmured with fiery eyes, eagerness for research all over his face. It turned out to be him. When a young Sasuke saw the appearance of a young Sasuke, he was shocked instantly. In the Hokage office before, the boy Sasuke knew that the boy Sasuke was his future self. At that time, I only saw the other party's blind eyes and broken arms. I never imagined that Sasuke would be so powerful in the future. Immediately, the boy Sasuke's face brightened, and the previous fear and trembling disappeared. If he has this strength in the future, what about his current potential? Sasuke, do you know that big guy? Tell me who he is. Naruto turned his head and said excitedly when he heard the boy Sasuke's exclamation. Of course I do, but why should I tell you? Juvenile Sasuke proudly raised his head and spat softly. At this moment, the pressure that Naruto brought to him really disappeared. His future is fixed to be in existence several times beyond Naruto. So hot. Too bad it's missing an arm. Such a strong ninja. I don't know who broke his arm. Little Sakura's shouts instantly poured cold water on young Sasuke's head, and most of the bursting flames of self-confidence were extinguished in an instant. Yes, indeed, such a strong Sasuke. Why did someone break an arm? How powerful is that enemy? Juvenile Sasuke was dripping with cold sweat for a moment. His face was pale, and he was uncertain. The others Aokiang stared at the battlefield ahead with surprise, trepidation, and longing. Unexpectedly, you have a Manjiki Sharingan's helper. This time the old man made a mistake. If you opened Rinnegan, you should have seen the steel left by Nanga's shrine. Maybe we can talk about cooperation? Uchiha's advanced escape technique, forbidden technique, six paths technique, and Yin Yang escape technique. I can teach you all of them. These are things that Uchiha doesn't have now. Uchiha Madara threw away the flaming white Zetsu skin with a wave of his hand, and raised his head to confidently invite young Sasuke. After the fight, just now, Uchiha Madara has confirmed that the opponent is a super genius. However, due to the lack of attack methods and abilities, it is impossible to display the true power of Rinnegan. Everything is due to the fact that Uchiha Madara took away the historical heritage of Uchiha before leaving the village. If the calculation is proper, the opponent may not be able to become his pawn. And at Uchiha Madara's right eye, the Scarlet Sharingan turned gray. Izanagi, sorry, I'm not interested in your ridiculous dreams. The young man Sasuke saw the Sharingan falling into darkness, And when he realized it, he resolutely refused. Others don't know what Uchiha Madara is doing. How can he not? He has no interest in trying to become a container for Kage.
No more novels? Take part in the voting. The most requested novels and those with the most likes will be chosen for publication on euroaudiobooks.com. There, I can upload as much as I want without the risk of receiving a strike. Our 18 novels and other content that exceed what is morally acceptable are only published on Patreon or the free novels page. Remember, the site is funded by donations on Ko-fi and Patreon memberships.